Bob, I don't appreciate him trying to find the flame.
Right, he needs to go to he needs to go get some water.
Oh shit!
Water and water and water, water and water, water. Oh yeah, that was me. I mean, I did request it, but I wasn't there for when it played. Because I requested the previous day. When the song request was off, and then you didn't purge the list, so then it played at the start of the stream. No. How dare you blame me? How dare you doubt me? How dare you doubt me? There we go. It couldn't even been me. I don't know. The only person tricking people here. You haven't even held up your end of the bargain.
Remember, no Russian.
Nope. There was apparently a behind doors like preview of it. A lot more information came out. I don't frickin' know. Right? I don't even know if it was like a playtest or if it was literally just. It's like, why aren't they actually showing us instead of. But Gaijin Hunter, had kind of a similar opinion I did after watching the 2 trailers. And then he, after hearing all the stuff, like, it's like, if this is true, I'm a little bit more hopeful. I don't even know if that's the case. Like, honestly, every Monster Hunter release has been, to me, it has always been an improvement over the previous one, even when they go from, like, the main studio to the portable studio, the main studio to the portable studio. Like, it's always building on itself, and it's always getting better, and, like, it depends on what people call, like, the oh my god, this is the best game ever type thing, because to me, Monster Hunter, yeah, its story is weak, but it also doesn't need a strong story to be fun and engaging. Oh. The size of the monster.
Good night.
Good night, Coach. The number of monsters is probably mostly dependent on just file size, or like getting everything to do it, right? And keep in mind, Worlds was their first major engine update since the launch of the game. Like, everything up until Generations literally was the same engine that it was on PS2. I think someone confirmed that Lagiacrust is in there, which is one of like the big monsters that people were waiting for. But most of the monster skeletons have been, by this point, have been updated to the new engine.
Oh, so 14
Like, they added the pseudo wyvern during not Rise, but Iceborne. Have fun. Don't worry.
Later.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Okay, I just got the tweet out. Do me that favor and go give it some love. And let me grab for you guys today's sauce. Okay. Alrighty, let's get this party started. If my Stream Deck will cooperate. Stream Deck, you okay? You okay, Stream Deck? Yeah? I feel like you're responding. Okay. Okay, it worked. I pressed it like 3 or 4 times and then it finally took. Here's today's sauce. Do me that favor, guys, and go give the artist some love. And there you go. Again, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody had a great Father's Day weekend. Hope you guys spent it with family or loved ones. And again, we've got some interesting stuff. So I just figured we'd start off by saying hey to everybody. Just did a little bit of housekeeping. So I probably will not be pinning my schedules on Twitter as long as I have the debut tweet pinned. I will probably go back to doing that after, the debut actually happens. We had a little bit of a mix-up regarding the schedule, which was that basically I knew Shadow of the Erdtree was going to be out Friday. I didn't realize it was going to be out Thursday night. Apparently, they actually posted an actual area where you can see and you guys can see. So I'm EDT here, and basically EDT is June 20th at 6 p.m. for PC. So that's basically when I'll be doing it. It's really funny too, because for some odd reason, console doesn't go live until midnight local time. So console gets it a full 6 hours later, which I just don't understand. So at that point, they're just kind of losing out on an extra 6 hours. But it does appear like this is pretty much held constant across everything because it's a simultaneous release. So it just is what it is. But so as a result of that, I will actually have access to it Thursday. Thursday, we will probably play some FGO first and then go into Shadow of the Erd Tree. And then Friday will probably just be Shadow of the Erd Tree. You guys are going to get my first weekday non-FGO stream in a while. And the reason why is, one, I want to try that out and see how that works. And two, it's kind of a dead week on both servers. Like, we straight up know that the NA event will last until I think the 24th, and I think the JP event will last until the 28th. So neither event is ending this week, and we pretty much know that they're, at worst, we're going to see them overlapping with some advanced quest or some crap like that. It's not going to be anything. It's not going to be anything crazy. So Cat is part of the 38. I am part of the 38. I've beaten Moog on multiple accounts. So, which is wild. Like, I saw that and I'm like, I think the only difference here is that while there's so many people that have played Elden Ring, there's so few people that have actually beaten it. I think everybody and their brother has purchased the game and tried to be part of the fad, but I feel like not everybody actually likes Souls-like games and managed to get through it all and actually beat it. And I'm not saying that you have to beat the game in order to get access to the DLC or anything like that, but just Moog's certainly deeper in there. You could get access to him relatively quick, but you wouldn't be able to beat him relatively quick in the game. So it's one of those deals where I could see that not a lot of people have managed to even find him, let alone beat him. And it's really funny because I saw this actually debate raging on Twitter, and people were saying oh, well, you can technically get access to him from the very first NPC you meet. And I'm like, that's true. That NPC also involved you going and doing PvP invasions, so I guarantee you 90% of people just didn't touch it. Just based off that alone. But yeah, it's just one of those deals where I can easily see how so few people have actually done it in retrospect. Unfortunately, you guys forced me to get out of my Baldur's Gate run right here in order to go live on stream. I am literally about 5 minutes from beating the game in honor mode. I am all the way in the point of no return. I have beaten Orin. I one-turned Orin on honor mode, and she just went down like an absolute nothing. And then I am literally at the point where I'm probably just going to fly Gale to the brain stock and have him go boom. So we're very close. You guys can expect a post from me tomorrow or something like that, probably saying it. Or again, by the time I'm live, I'll probably end up announcing it. So just expect that. This week, again, like I said, we've got the survey that we're going to be doing tonight. We've got the CQ to do on NA tomorrow, and potentially a CQ on JP. I've actually been trying to get up to the point where I could do it, but here, let's actually go do NA first because I got some time there. But JP, God, I forgot how much 5 AP this event was on JP. It just takes forever. It is literally I'm actually kind of dreading this collab event when it comes to an A, because there has been so much 5 AP that even without reading, it has taken me a ton of time to get through it all. I don't even want to fathom having to read it all. It's going to be a nightmare, I feel like, for a lot of people. So I hope whenever it comes out on an A, we don't have much of anything going on JP. That way it's just nice and easy. Daishori? Yes, indeed. You guys got some Okida Assassin today. Took the long way to get to Moog. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people do that, so don't feel like you're the only one. Have you seen the comma figure? You've probably seen the comma figure because of me. I saw it get posted and I retweeted it, and then I was like, damn, that cake. That's how I know it was showing up on all my friends' feeds. But yeah, it looked ridiculous. I also saw there was some drama today in the FGO community about shipping Saber with Shiro or Godao. And I just want to say this, guys, please don't be one of those peoples. I'm not going to say that people don't have their quote unquote ships, but make sure that if you ship it, you kind of keep it to yourself. I think it's perfectly okay to have your own headcanon and stuff like that, but like, it is the dumbest drama that you can have is when people are arguing over the fictitious relationships of fictitious characters. And I'm just like, this is not worth people getting upset over. I'm sorry. Like, I can definitely say, like, there's at least, like, the handful of ships out there that I don't like, but it's mostly, like, anyone paired with Shinji or, like, anyone paired with Gil. And the reason for that is just because I don't like the way either of those two characters act towards women in general. And I'm not saying this as, like, a white knight. I'm saying this as, like, yeah, they're kind of rapists. So it's just one of those deals where it's like, I don't really want to see those pairings ever. But otherwise, I'm like, I don't care who people ship people with. It's not a big deal. And I don't think it's necessarily worth getting upset at someone over it. So it's like, even if I don't want to see it, I'm just going to like keep scrolling and not look at it, right? Like, it's just one of those ones where it's like, to me, if you're a sane, rational human being, you don't immediately pause, stop, and go like, I'm going to start a Twitter war over this, which is just really odd to me. Enkidu Gil. Yeah, I'd say Enkidu Gil actually kind of works, but that's just because I feel like Gil treats Enkidu differently than probably anyone else. They should stick to the classics and debate Saber versus Ren versus Sakura. No, I mean, I also think that's stupid, right? Like, you guys know I use the term the big three a lot on here, and I basically talk about how, like, to me, it makes a lot of sense that they are, again, like, just each important in their own way, right? I don't think they need to like have one be better than the other. That's why there's 3 different routes. There's one for each of them. Each one is significant. Trying to say so and so is better than so and so is just an entire matter of taste and nothing more. There is no difference besides that. Let me make sure I do the rest of these. I really wish there was just a restore all button for these. I know there's a redeem all, but not a restore all. Gacha players aren't rational beings, Cad. You know, sure, right? And like, here's the thing I'll say is like, we're all idiots for playing a gacha game. But at the same time, like, are you irrational because you play a gacha game? Are you like, you know, irredeemable because you play a gacha game? I don't think so. I feel like these sorts of things are just, you're no different than like that girl that goes out there and spends like a shit ton of money at like Hobby Lobby, or like, I don't know, like the dude that goes like drinking every night and drinks himself into a fucking like hole, or the guy that goes out gambling on the regular. Like, people have their hobbies. Sometimes those hobbies are destructive. Sometimes those hobbies spend money. It's totally up to you as to what you want to do with your life. And I think that's the only difference in all of this, is just being cognizant of what it is and how much it may or may not impact you. You know, the people are prone to do drama. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I hate to say it, but that's Twitter in a nutshell, right? Like, Twitter in a nutshell is always going to be drama. And here's why. Drama drives impressions, and impressions are what drive the like stupid advertising on Twitter. So people are naturally going to sit there and argue with each other and just make a shit ton of posts in the hope of just getting more impressions. That's all it is in a nutshell. Who knew gambling crossed the line harder than everything else? I mean, in a weird way, you could say that like FGO probably pre-pity certainly had its issues, but at least post-pity, you know that there is a finite amount where you will get the unit. So you're still gambling, but you're only gambling as to like how much in a range. But yeah, I feel like at least gacha and generally spending on any sort of microtransaction in video gaming should kind of come with this big old warning label of like, hey, yeah, just so you know, like, any money you spend here, you're not getting back. This is money that is wasted. If you get enjoyment out of it, good. But please understand that this is not going to like again, fix your life, and it may actually result in some bad times in the future if you don't have enough money to do the things you actually want. I feel like it's a big point to make for a lot of people, especially young adults. Young adults, I hear so many people nowadays that complain that they can't get a house, they have a hard time paying rent, they struggle to pay the bills, to get their groceries, you name it, right? And I'm going to say this. Part of the problem with that is I feel like everybody feels the need to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody's got to do everything that everyone else does. Like, for instance, like, let's say I roll an FGO. I've had people that have told me, like, oh man, you're making me want to roll, right? Like, that sort of mentality, okay? Don't get caught up in that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that person that has to roll, right? Like, don't be the person that has to spend money on impulse. Learn some restraint, learn some self-control, and you'll be better for it in almost every aspect of your life. But yeah, it's I feel like that warning label should be there for people so that people know, hey, yeah, this is consuming my funds that might be better used on other things like paying my bills. I heard people on Twitter acting like USO was the only pity FGO had again. They had no clue. Like I said, it's usually people that have quit the game. Would you say that Tiamat is kind of OP for a newer account? My wife finally started JP, got Draco going for Tiamat too. Yeah, I mean, Tiamat's definitely really strong. She's one of just the best damage dealers in the game right now. Period. Right. So at that point, getting her on an early account's just naturally going to be good. I do feel like a lot of why that is the case is that synergy with Black Grail and things like that. And if you don't have that, that may not be as powerful. But you can do things like, again, using some of the like lesser rarity CEs to kind of fill in for Black Grail. You can take someone else's support. So it's really just on you kind of developing the alternate unit to kind of work with the other person's support. And you're not going to 3-turn everything, but you will be able to do solid damage and actually be able to pop off still. So I feel like it's still really good. Also, Tia Mom can't really go wrong. Yeah. Also, inflation and minimum wage. No, look, we don't need to get into like macroeconomics, right? Just the idea that that again, like any money that you waste on a hobby like this it's money for your enjoyment, for your entertainment, but it is not money that is going to further your goals in life in the slightest. I'm looking forward to 6th Andy to finally get MLB. Nice. Yeah, definitely getting that ticket. I actually wanted to get the ticket out today, but a little bit of a mix-up with me and then work as well that kind of caused some issues. So I'll probably do a double air tomorrow. So what I'll do is I'll probably put out the CE video and the probably the GSSR one, and then the next day is going to be the actual anniversary event guide, and then I believe Thursday and Friday will be Arcueid and Shufu each. So you guys should have that to look forward to. For copy game, yes. Okay. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. Can I ask what the arcade debut is about? Arcade debut? No. I'm debuting as a VTuber. Arcade is a separate thing. I see how that kind of is. It does kind of string together if you don't see the the exclamation point, so that's my bad. I still don't have a K-scope though. I mean, it's still really nice having a K-scope, but I feel like if you're sitting there at 4 out of 5, I can't really blame you, right? Like, and it's why like I provided that commentary in the video that I did, but it's also one of those deals where I can't make the decision for people. I can just tell them how I'd approach it. And I think this is ultimately the issue overall in FGO. And it's why I think they're so so many people that like don't watch content creators and don't follow guides is because the game is not impossible to play without them, right? Like it's not like you can't sit there and just play and do a okay job. You might not min max things, you might not get the most out of everything, but like you can still keep going. And technically there's no mistake to be made really in FGO. The big mistake, and the one you absolutely shouldn't do, is burning units, particularly if you don't have the 5th copy of them yet. But besides that, there's really like no major issue. Like even if you roll on a unit that you maybe like, you know, oh man, I should have saved and gotten this other unit. That other unit will get another banner. That unit that you got will still be useful to you. And even if you've like worked on other units that you maybe are thinking like, oh well, you know, I should have worked on so and so or something first, it really doesn't matter. It's the same deal. It's like any progress you make on your account in any way will help you in the long run. You guys see the Samurai Remnant news? I did. Trump's was talking to me about it and his whole theory for what it's going to be, which is really interesting. And I think he's right on the money with it. So, Cat just wants to stop shaving and go full mountain. So breaking out the VTuber. I wish I could only do that if I didn't work. Did you bond your JP? No, I'm going to have to do that actually right before we start. So that is something I still have to do. Part of that's just because I got really in deep on that honor mode run and I was hoping to finish it. And then I'm just going to say some shit happened because I ended up running completely out of inspiration points due to the nether brain being a pile of crap and failing me on my best stat repeatedly. Which I don't think I needed to use it there, but whatever. And so I didn't have any inspiration later for when the Gith Yankee showed up and were challenging me because of a certain choice that I made. So I couldn't persuade them not to fight me. So I got in this long, like 10-minute battle with them. Since I basically have my Gimp Gale in the party at the moment. So I was fighting like 3 on like 5 or 6 or something like that. And I ended up still winning, but it just was annoying. But that's why I ended up not getting to get around to like binding my account before stream. Still haven't played the last DLC. I haven't either. Like, part of me is just like at a point of like I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna wait till I have the time. I'm gonna wait till all the DLCs are out. So part of the fun of watching FGO players for me was just borrowing some of the ideas for teams. Yeah, I mean I get that, right? Like. I think people watch it for different reasons. Some people are going to be exactly like you. Some people are going to watch for guide content, and some people are going to watch just because they want that feeling of community. And I don't blame them, right? Like, I feel like that is the biggest thing to be said about it. And it's why, like, I guess I'm always trying to encourage you guys to be a community regardless of FGO, to, like, get to know each other, to say hi to each other. And that way, like, and again, to be nice with each other. That way you don't have to, like, you know, again, rely necessarily even on the game. You never know. Like, a day may come where immediately, like, something happens to FGO or something like that, and then you're just like, oh, well, I don't know anyone, and I have no friends, and what do I do? Like, I think that is part of what, like, gaming online now is about, is actually having those people and knowing people so that you're never quite alone. Because I realize this, too, that, like, some of the issues that I have are that, like, I don't really have friends in real life that are into gaming anymore, mostly because, like, most of my friends are either just not of that disposition or they're older and married and don't have time for shit. At least so they claim. I know that that's a choice that people make, and I get that, but it's one of those deals where it's like that's why I'll end up on like Twitter and like sit there like doom scrolling, right? Like, because you're sitting there and you're just like, man, I've got like no one to talk to at the moment. I've got like no one to hang out with. And you just like, you have a moment here and there and you just, that's what you do. It's your way of socializing. It's your way of getting out there and seeing what else is going on in the world. So, but it's also why, like I said, it's why we have Discord. It's why we have, you know, the community on there, and why I hope you guys come to stream every single night, right? Regardless of what I'm playing, because that way at least you've got somebody else to hang out with. And I've gotten comments like that in the past that people have said that like it's really helped them that I'm live almost daily. And that, like, in a weird way, that just warms my heart. Like, it makes me feel good to know that, like, I am that constant for people when I can be, right? And I don't know if that will always last, but I will try, right? Like, it's just one of those things where I think some people need that structure. They need that that organization and that thing that they can fall back on and rely on in their lives. Cool to see that Samurai Remnant DLC 3, but damn, they chose the worst possible time to release it. I mean, it is what it is. You can say that, right? But I'm also going to tell you that I think there's plenty of people that will not get the Elden Ring DLC, right? And here's why I'm going to say this, chat. So Elden Ring had a like concurrent peak of like 950,000. Okay, like that was their record. They were nearly at like 1 million. The current numbers for Elden Ring stand at about 150,000. That number will spike, but I'm betting this number is going to get to something like 600K. It's not going to be what it used to. It's not going to be the 1 million, because I think when the game initially comes out, a lot of people aren't sure what to think about it, and a lot of people rode that hype bandwagon. And while I do think there will be another influx, another surge of hype, I don't think that you're going to get as many people with it, because I think some people have decided that the game is not for them and have written it off. So I do understand that. When my condition flares up and I don't sleep, having your stream to watch during the night is a huge help, so I'm not as focused on my condition. Yeah, I'm always happy to provide, so. And please understand, if I ever take a day off, chat, like, it's probably because I needed the day off, right? Like, it just happens. I will also warn you guys, over the next 2 months, there will probably be the occasional day that I snipe here and there, where I go like, there's nothing really important going on. I'm not going to be live today so that I can get some shit done. Because you guys, I'll talk about all of this once I debut, but there's a ton of work that goes into all of this. And I'm at this point of being worried on multiple facets, because I'm worried about like how people are going to perceive the change, how people are going to like maybe some of the stuff that I show off, and I also just like getting it ready, and will it be ready, or will things go wrong? That stuff is like right now driving me kind of nutty. So, but it'd be what it be. But yeah, no, all I was going to say again on the Samurai Remnant stuff is just that I don't feel like it's a full overlap, right? Like, I don't feel like it's a one-to-one, like, gotta do type thing. But we will probably do the CQ maybe Wednesday, if I don't have it already set up for tomorrow. Because again, tonight, I'm not going to be able to advance stuff, because I'm going to be probably spending all my AP on these stupid storm pods. It's not a VTuber debut without a scuff, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, I get... What did I just go into? What? Huh? What even is this node? The lamp node? God, I must have just clicked on the wrong one. Okay, let's try. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I'm gonna have enough to actually stagger the cards, not without damage buffs. Anyways, but yeah, that's, like I said, I figured that that's probably the case. And so it's like, I don't know. I think one of the things for me is that, like, this debut marks a big change for the channel. And I just want it all to go well. And I want people to both be excited for it, but also realize that, like, it's still me. Because I know this is gonna, like, be a change for people that someone like some are just not going to like, right? Like, and unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that. I've already committed to this. I've already like ended up kind of going down that path. I can, and I think what I'll probably do is I'm probably going to debut and we're going to stay VTuber, hard VTuber for a while. And then I think I will ask people, like, how do you guys feel about this? And would you want me to continue down this path? Or do you want me to maybe pull it back some and start doing, again, some face streams? We'll just have to see. Because I think, like, I don't know, right? Like, because I know people, like, in the inception in the first couple days, it's going to be awkward. And I need to get beyond that awkwardness phase. Path of no return? Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Hard to catch your streams when I start, 2 a.m. for me. But I do catch it, really enjoy watching you. You're great. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate it, Annex. I know it's nice to actually see, like, I feel like that one of the cool parts about this is that, like, as a streamer, I get to see, like, so many of you guys that are, like, newer to the channel and stuff, people that I maybe didn't, like, see before. And it's great. Like, I actually like that. It's actually been one of the joys of creating, like, YouTube content, is that I feel like I don't often see new people, but when I do, it's really special. Like, it really, like, matters a little bit more. So it is nice to see that regardless. Let's go ahead and give Skadoodle that arts card because she's close to an MP herself. So much HP to go through. Yeah, I mean, and this isn't going to kill her, but this is going to do a good chunk, so. CAD debating with CAD, the CAD collab? Yes, absolutely. We need to clone CAD and have CAD on both stream, Real and VTuber. So I've actually, one of the content creators that I've watched before, he is a Warhammer streamer, and I have actually seen him sit there and debate himself, and he does a really good job with his, like, camera. He has buttons that he can shift it around. And he does a really good job of, like, actually making it so that, like, it looks like he's having a debate. And it's one of the funnier things that I've seen. You know what? It probably would have helped if I had done that. But, oh well. We're going to do that. And then I actually got the quick card, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to pray to God that Helena doesn't murder Shisho there, because I would like Shisho to stay up just for the charge. Actually, that dealt less damage than I thought it would. I watch VTubers all the time, so it'll be an easy change for me. And I hope so. And, like, I'm going to say this. I'm not going to be like any other VTuber you've ever seen before. Because it's going to be me! So, like, at that point, while it will be similar, it will also, like, don't expect me to go, like, balls deep into, like, VTuberism, if that makes any sense. Like, I know there is a lot more VTuber culture, basically, on that side of things. And while that can certainly be something, I don't know that that I'm going to be all that into it, right? Like how some people just really drop into the lingo, to the mannerisms, and like are almost a completely different human being. Don't expect that to happen to me. I'm going to be honest, VTubers kind of weird me out. So I understand VTubers a lot more in retrospect. When they first came out, they weirded me out too. And part of what that is the fact that I felt like the reason a lot of people were becoming VTubers was to hide who they are, was to change who they are, was to basically pull the wool over people's eyes and make it seem like they were something other than what they were, right? In retrospect now, though, I feel more like instead of that it's a little bit more of a case of people instead, you know, and I'm not going to say that doesn't exist. I do feel like that exists, and I don't like those types of VTubers. But I feel like now the big reasons that I've seen are twofold. One is people don't necessarily like to show themselves on camera for whatever the reason. And at least having a VTuber avatar allows them to have something else that they feel comfortable with besides having nothing at all. So it gives something for people to look at. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of okay with that. And then the other one is that a lot of people just in general feel more relaxed. That is to say, kind of when they start looking over there, they start seeing like, oh man, I've got this many viewers and they're all watching me and they're looking at me. I feel like there's a lot of people that like that freaks them out. For instance, they can't get up in front of a bunch of people and do public speaking. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't know that I could do public speaking. I've done it a couple times before. It always rattles me. And to a degree, I feel like it should. I feel like it's a very normal reaction. If public speaking doesn't rattle you, you either basically aren't smart enough to be afraid of it, or you probably have done it so many times that you've become comfortable with it. And in that regard, like, to me, I can sit here and I can see, oh man, there's like 160 of you here right now. That's fine. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. If I had to stand up in front of 160 people and basically give a speech, that would be different. That would make me way more like, I don't know why. Like it's just that act of them all being right there and having their eyes on you, right? It makes it a lot more cognizant than like, oh, I'm just streaming from the comfort of my home. It's just all being done on the internet, and there's, you know, so many degrees of separation, right? So I completely understand why some people get that way. Just imagine 160 people looking into your eyes right now. I mean, I always assume that a good like half of you are AFK. And you can't prove me wrong on that, chat. And I know this because like in a weird way, there's times where like there's a ton of you all active in stream, and there's times where there's not. And I'm not going back into that note again. Damn, how did he know? Yup. About 160 Arturias? Stop, I can only get so erect. What'd you say, Cat? I was AFK. Yep. Exactly. Quick, everyone stare at Cad. I mean, you can. Like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't actually faze me. It's more the actual act of if I had to do actual public speaking. That would bother me, right? And I'd say this too. It's also that I know that everybody that's in this channel is interested in either me or the game, right? So it's like, in that regard, I'm not too worried because I assume that everybody, like, you know, has similar interest to me. It's a lot easier when you're talking about things that you like and enjoy, and you realize that most of the people in the audience also like and enjoy those things. Versus, I don't want to have to go get up and do like some speech for a class, or like have to give a presentation at work. Don't make me do those things. Because, and I say this, I can actually talk very well at work. It doesn't bother me too much, but like, it's just one of those deals where you feel like you're going to be judged. You feel like there's going to be people that you know, aren't just enjoying your presence and there, you know, just to relax and chill out. So that definitely, I think, is the thing. I'm here because Cat doesn't let me out of his basement. True. But Floridians don't have basements, so you're in Schrodinger's basement. You're both there, but it doesn't exist at the same time. I don't like hearing myself, so I don't think I could do YouTube or Twitch. I don't either, and that's probably the weirdest thing for me. So a lot of streamers actually have in-ear monitoring, like either in their headset or like if they have some headphones. And they actually like to hear their voice play back into their ears so that they can hear how they sound. I can't do that at all. That actually bothers my train of thought. I don't know why some people do that. It's really weird to me. But I guess if it helps them, right? Like it's the same thing as like, I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. But if it helps somebody else somehow, then go for it, right? At least you didn't use a grail by accident. Yeah. I never did that. Anyways, I did this too many times too. I got used to public speaking over time, but I 100% get it because initially I didn't feel like that. Yep. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like now as an adult, I'd probably be better with it, especially like depending on the subject matter. But man, it doesn't mean I want to, right? Like a lot of people just don't want that pressure. So, do you still have a laundry room? If it's not in your basement, that doesn't exist. Yes, I still have a laundry room. No, it is not in my basement because my basement doesn't exist. In Florida, we just have laundry rooms on ground level, not like in the floor. I hate how I sound. It clashes so much with how I imagine I sound, right? Because like your inner monologue, your head is like so much more macho, right? Like you talk like this the entire time, and you're like, man, why doesn't everyone think that I sound this fucking badass? And then like you actually talk, and you're like, why do I sound like a chipmunk that's been high on helium? Right? So it kind of makes a lot of sense. So you're saying a lot of streamers are narcissists because they like hearing the sound of their own voice. Perhaps. I mean, that might be the reason, but no, I don't think so necessarily. I assume it helps them keep their vocal ranges where they want it to be versus like, I don't know, I've never had an issue with that. So like to me, this is a non-issue, and I don't like hearing myself over myself because it actually messes with me. It actually makes it difficult for me to actually talk and think. For a report, I freeze up. Yeah. Avalon, I've expected you to get revenge, but you failed. Joke went right over Cad's head. No, I mean, I 100% got what you were saying. I just took it seriously. Hey, this is really funny. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, Cad didn't get my joke. And I'm like, no, I got your joke. It's just like, what do you want me to say to your joke? Ha ha ha, so funny. I'm a narcissist. No, I'm not, right? Like, and it's something that I can say with confidence because I've met actual narcissists, and God, they piss me off. Not because they're so focused on themselves, but again, you guys know I'm an empathetic person in most circumstances. So narcissists are someone that I just do not get along with. I patently cannot get along with a narcissist because they are only concerned with themselves and not anyone else around them. And it just makes me go like, ah, every fucking time. What does everyone sound higher than they think they do? I don't know. Probably because when you hear yourself in yourself, you hear your voice rattling around in your like chest, and like it sounds deeper to you. Granted, I've been told that I have a very deep voice, so I don't know. Happens differently than when we hear others, right? My voice has a nasal quality that I hate. Mine can, and it actually depends on if I'm kind of projecting out through my nose, which actually has a contingent of it depends on like when, like whether or not I'm having like allergies really bad. So for instance, today I am primarily breathing through my mouth and everything is coming out of my mouth. If my nose is clear, I can project a little bit better, and I'll have that clear nasal passage, and I'll sound a little bit more nasally that way. So, your bones transmit sound as well. I see. The mini echo that happens in your mouth and goes into your ears. I mean, like, I never thought about that, but sure. Like, to me, again, this is not something that's, like, super concerning for me because I'm not going to say I like the way my voice sounded, but I will say that the more I stream, the more I became okay with it. It is still one of the weirder things to, like, listen to recordings of myself, though. But I can tell you what finally broke it for me was when I first started streaming. I used to go back and watch my recordings a lot to make sure my sound was good, to make sure my voice wasn't, all squeaky and high pitched. And it was in that time I ended up watching it enough that I finally became okay with my own voice and the way it sounds. So. My sibilant S when recording. Your F. I think the only thing I don't like is when my voice like actually peaks, like when it cracks, right? That's it. Otherwise it doesn't bother me too much. It's a matter of getting used to it. Yep. Yeah, and that's I think the other thing to understand too is the more people talk with you, the more they get used to your voice, right? Like the more they hear you. It's not just a thing that you yourself have to get used to. But I do think it's an interesting discussion nonetheless. That how people perceive you and whether or not your idea of you is the same as their idea of you, right? And I feel like the only way to actually get that is actually to record yourself or something like that. It's definitely a tool that gets used all the time in sports. I'm sure it gets used in public speaking. And again, here's a streamer. Everything I do is recorded. Everything is welcome to the internet. It's permanently online. So in that regard, it's just something that I've grown used to. But I definitely feel like it can be a thing that people can use to their advantage. That I think a lot of people don't use enough. Von Grail Summer Scotty, was she actually maxed out? I did notice right there that she was really close, but I didn't think she was full. Oh, she was. Okay. Thank you. Good too, because that's another 10 million QP down the toilet. Printing yourself can also help when trying to learn a language when you try to get the pronunciation just right. Oh, I don't have any issue with that. At least most of the time I don't have any issue with that. And I will say this, I have had people tell me oh, hey, you're pronouncing that wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You're probably being way too picky. And so the only times that I could assume that that's not the case is when there are two very similar but distinct sounds in a language, and they're telling you, hey, you're not pronouncing that correctly. Make sure that you do, because it'll get confused for this other word, right? It'll get confused for this other syllable or something like that, this other pronunciation. So tonal languages, yeah. So it's to me, I don't think it's that big of a deal most of the time. When you say the or the, it doesn't matter. People in English understand what you're saying, right? And the reason why is a native speaker can usually pick up on context unless they're just an idiot, or they can ask you to repeat yourself. And either way, both work. So it's usually not as big of a deal as most people make it out to be. You do want to not sound like an idiot, but most people are forgiving of that sort of thing. Remember watching your guides before I came to watch your streams because your voice has the right amount of confidence? Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you fell for my lie. No, I'm just kidding. Like I said, I've always tried to view myself as not a quote unquote expert at the game, but just somebody that knows a lot. And it doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean I don't. It doesn't mean I know everything. But if I don't know everything, and I've always held this mentality that even from my first days of streaming, that if I don't know something, I am happy to go find the answer. I'm happy to actually get the correct response for you, because to me it's less about my ego and more just about being right, getting the right answer for someone. I feel like that matters so much more in general than a lot of people realize. A guy with a deeper voice. If I get excited, my voice rages in pitch. I think that happens with everybody, though. Happen every time I'm talking to a girl I was interested in. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm gonna say this from one guy to another, and from one guy to any guy in the audience. I think one of the best things you can do when talking to a woman is, especially if you're interested in them, be yourself. Just act natural. Just remain calm. Don't get too excited. And what will be if the person's gonna make fun of you for showing general interest, if the person's going to be an asshole about things, please understand that they were probably not the right choice, right? There are people out there that are like that. They are people that are extremely immature. And you can walk away with your head held high for not only having the courage to go talk to someone or potentially to ask them out, but also for just in general, like being the better person at that point. Because, yeah, it's really rude and crude to see people like that. I have both expressed interest in women and had women expressed interest in me. And I feel like it's always important to, in a weird way, and this is going to sound really, really odd, right? But it's almost like to be professional, right? To be classy in how you do that. You got to understand that you're dealing with people's feelings and that you're also opening up and letting someone deal with your feelings. And in that time, it's important to, again, just be kind to each other. Just be normal. Just be not an asshole. Because again, if you do something like that, then you understand that, crap, there may have been another guy there that was like interested in the person and they may just go like, oh, she's a bitch, right? And then simultaneously, there may also just be that same problem of if you make a fool of yourself. And what I mean by making a fool, I don't mean asking someone out. You're always making yourself a fool when you do that. And that's something that I think is never comfortable. And it's just something that every guy has to get used to an extent. But to me, it's also just one of those deals where it's like, yeah, if you're making a fool of yourself, you're also going to be worse for it. So, but I don't consider, again, approaching someone or talking to a girl you like, making a fool of yourself. And if people can't understand and respond to legitimate interest, I think it's, again, just on them. So, but yeah, don't ever get down on yourself for, being excited. Just like I said, the best thing you can do is just remain calm, remain cool. Especially because, and sounds awful, but one of the worst things you can do is kind of act almost disinterested at times. So I feel like the harder you go after some women in a lot of ways, the less likely they are to be all in on it. It's like they almost sense desperation or something like that, and they don't like it. And so I think one of the better things you can do is just remain calm, remain patient, show that you're interested, but you're not obsessed, and that sort of thing. And I think that's actually one of the best like feelings that you can broadcast. And then ask her this: where was Gondor when the Westwood fell? I mean, you can do that if you know that it's a nerdy girl. If it's not a nerdy girl, I don't advise doing that. Just be a dude hanging with a bro. Yeah, it's actually one of the better ways you can view it. Now, I'm not saying you go up and just like you do with your bro, you slap her on the ass. I'm not going to say that you go up and you just immediately insult her. Those sorts of approaches usually are not going to work. So, like, the idea, though, is to, like, in a weird way, not necessarily think of her as a woman and think as if you're just talking with an acquaintance, a friend, right? You slap your bro on the ass? Yeah, bro. How else are you supposed to respect their plays? Sometimes you just gotta. It's a sign of affection. It's showing your bro that you care and that you were their witness. So can't kiss her goodnight like you do the homies? No, exactly. Yeah, you'll get slapped for that. What do you mean I can't instantly slap her ass? Listen, you can try that, but if you do, you're not gonna have a hand. Are you really homies if you don't kiss the homie? That's true. That's true. But chat, you gotta get her up to the level of homie, right? And that requires both parties. Okay, it's not a one-way street. It requires reciprocation. I don't think that. So I don't think that needs to worry me. I mean, listen, it's okay as. You just got to understand that sometimes you just got to play a little grab ass with the pros. Anyway, sorry, chat. I've played sports for a good chunk of my life. So, like, it's just one of those things, okay? It's just locker room hazing is I guess the best way you can put it. Night all. Good night, Arch. I hope you have sweet dreams thinking of what we just talked about. I'm so confused now. Why are you confused? Why is this confusing, chat? That song slap? Yeah, exactly. And if that song slaps and your bro slaps, then you also need to ask, how can she slap? Which is another reference that I'm sure most people don't get. Anyways, all right, so we're done on both servers then. So in that regard, then now, chat, I gotta go make, and so that I don't do this the bad way, I gotta go do my my quick account login or sign up. It's the second from the bottom, right? Let me log in and check. I know, I'm also. Really funny being from a different culture and completely different society. I still find it hilarious. I mean, these are things that are like not commonly accepted in, you know, even Western culture. So it's perfectly okay. Second from the bottom, yes. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna click the button. We'll get a pop-up. And the pop-up's taking forever. Listen, I'm not getting anything. I'm just getting a blank screen. Cat talking about the environment of the dude bros and the homies. Exactly. Well, this is a problem. All right, Avalon, you can tell me. Oh, now it actually loaded. What the hell? Okay, hold on. I don't know. And then it's what? Email and then password? It didn't load before? No, it didn't. Wait, is this going to mean that I have to do the survey on my phone? Yeah, because I don't want to do it on my phone. I did it on PC just by using the login. Okay. It is telling me there's an error. Is this first page that pops up not the freaking login page? Did they not say you can do it from the website too? You can log in via the website. Here, I'll let you guys tell me. So this is the front page. I assume that's where you got to put stuff in, but that's the login page. All right, so which one? Do I need this or this? A or B? Register, you need the middle. Okay. Whoa, wait, what's the third line here? There's email, password, and something else. Is it just password again? Yeah, I think it's password again. And then I don't know what this drop down box is. Looks like it's terms. Okay. All right. Let's go touch the survey. Where is my survey? Sorry, I had to like log in and everything off the. Okay. Make sure it doesn't actually show my name and password anywhere here. Doesn't look like it does. All right, chat. Hello, Nara. All right, so let us translate to English. And again, we've done many a survey on this channel. You guys know I really like to talk about these. I really like to flesh these out and give the best response I can. Obviously, responding in English. There's certainly the idea that if you respond in English that you'd technically be outing yourself, but I don't think it matters. I don't think the devs care. I've been doing this for years. I've never had a negative thing with it. And there's also the idea that maybe if you respond in English that they're just going to disregard your opinion. And that might be true. But I'm also going to assume that it's probably not, because I can assume that just as you can sit here and translate the page, they could also translate what you're doing. So Evelyn said there's a foreigner option. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, for the territory. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not even at that point yet. Anyways, but so we normally like to go through these and actually talk about it, because I feel like, just like I've talked about before, like, again, you guys saw I just put out the video talking about what needs to be done in FGO, really, and like whether or not there are these major overarching issues. We're gonna go through this with a fine-tooth comb, try to give them the best possible responses, give them some constructive criticism, but also maybe try to glean from them what their angling is on some of these. And so I'm going to get you guys my 2 cents on this. Wilshire, thank you for the 33. Hope you're having a good day. All right, so looks like we have, again, until July 1st to do this. So you guys got like 2 weeks. You're still okay. Those who completed the survey during the period above the survey completion page, you'll get 4 summon tickets. Gift will be automatically distributed to your gift box. Do keep in mind this may take like a day, right? Like it may take until reset. I don't remember if it'll be immediate or not, but if it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. Just make sure your mailbox is actually like roomy enough, which I'm gonna go take a look just to make sure, because mine's pretty full. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, personal information providing will only be used for analyzing the responses and distributing gifts. It will be managed in accordance with Article 8, collection and use of information on the terms of use. If you close the survey page for completing your answers, your input will be reset. We ask for your understanding. In other words, don't fuck up and hit the X in the top right corner. You're gonna regret. Okay? So with that in mind, yeah, let's make sure that we got that. Okay. So please tell me your age. Oh, come on. What the hell? Like right here, right off the bat? 69. No. Well, I'm ashamed to admit I'm somewhere in that age range. Please tell me your gender. Other. Please tell us your prefecture. Hokkaido. Everyone from Hokkaido is weird. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so there is an others. We can just go with that. I assume this takes me to the next part. All right, so we're 10% done already. What's your occupation? Company employee, civil servant, company executive. So I always assume that they want this sort of information just because they want to have a breakdown of the rough employment status. Like, how many of our people are just no life unemployed people that are going to sit there and degen our game, versus how many are like this guy that's like working constant overtime and has no time to play our game. And it also probably helps them catalog the responses into like, this is how people of this profession with this amount of time feel about the game, versus like, hey, this is how the person that has all the time in the world feels about the game, right? Yeah, whether or not I'm an oil sheik, right? Okay, so company employee, civil servant, company executive, Self-employed freelance. I technically qualify for this as a streamer, but probably this. Elementary or junior high school student, high school, college student, college, university student, part-time job, full-time housewife, house husband. The dream. Oh man, I need to marry a sugar mama, and I need her to turn me into a full-time house husband. I need to be the way of the house husband here. Unemployed, and then others. Please tell us how much time you spend using your smartphone or tablet per day on weekdays and holidays outside of work or school. Outside of work or school, what about at work and school? No, I mean, the answer to this is, you guys know, like, so it's per day on weekdays and holidays outside of work or school. I think the answer to this is probably either here or here, and I'm gonna say it's probably about here. In the past, it's certainly been 5+, but I'm not doing full FGO streams anymore, so it is really around this amount of time. Holidays, do not use smartphone or tablet less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 1 hour, about 1 to 2 hours. I'm going to say during holidays, it's probably like here is the real response. Certainly we have issues where there's like lottos in the middle of our holidays, but without an actual lotto, I do not spend very long farming. And even during a lotto, I usually will farm a ton before I go on holiday so that I don't have to do it while I'm actually spending the time with my family. Please tell us how much time you use PC per day. Ooh, that's a new one. I don't think they've asked us about PC before, at least not that I can remember. So that's interesting. I feel like they've asked multiple smartphone questions, but I don't think they've ever asked PC before. This is exciting. This is good if this is the case, because it certainly would indicate an interest in it. Now, it may not be the interest that we're thinking. It may not be that we're going to have this because they're going to bring FGO to PC, like give it an actual PC client. I would hope that they would. That would be great. But it may be a case of perhaps that they are wanting to gauge overall the PC like market that they have for their games, so that for things like, again, something like Samurai Remnant or something like that, that they would release on PC, they maybe want to know just how many of their players actually have one and use one. So yeah, I do think it could be for other games. It might have nothing to do with FGO. That being said, I did talk about this before in the past. I said if we got an actual account linking feature, that was kind of the first step in what they would need to do in order to do a PC client. That it was something that they absolutely needed to do because the game needed a full-blown account system. It was smart to do it for multiple reasons, one of which was, again, having the possibility of doing a PC client. So I do find it really interesting that we just got account binding, and literally like a month later, we get a survey that requires you to account bind and is immediately asking you about PC. That's actually really interesting. So I'm not going to guarantee that that's what that has to do with, is having a PC client, but I will say this certainly leans in that direction in my eyes. So how often do I use a PC outside of work? Oh yeah. Holidays. This is actually about the same. I usually have like an hour or two to myself during the holidays to kind of have like my laptop or something like that, and I will sit there and play some stuff. Also because sometimes my nephews actually will just show up and be like, hey, what are you doing? And want to play and basically do other things. So it's an easy way of both entertaining the kids and or, you know, just having some recreation. So I do actually play my PC some. Plus, you guys know, me being a streamer, me running a community, I have to sit there and check in at least, on a fairly regular basis, or else sometimes people get very worried if I don't tell people where I am for any amount of time. How much do you spend on hobbies per month? Also, how much of that do you spend on smartphone games? So this is an interesting idea, and I probably need a yen to dollar conversion, but I believe it's still somewhere in the realm of like, chat, what is it, like 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 120 yen per dollar or something like that. I want to say is about the amount. So let's just pick something in the middle here. Let's say is 157. Okay, so it's definitely up from there. All right, so then let's say 30,000. Well, hold on. Wait, is my number lock off? Okay, there we go. 30,000 yen divided by, let's see, 157. Well, it'd be like 1.57, right? No. Yeah, it's 157. Hold on. My brain. So we're looking at that being about $200. So this is then going to be about $400. And so they want to know how much I spend on hobbies per month. Also, how much do I spend on smartphone games? This really depends, right? Like, this really depends on what they consider a hobby, on what I do, right? So, like, this is an interesting thing because for me, obviously, I have things like the streaming side of things, and I incur costs and expenses for stuff like that. But I don't know that that's really a hobby at this point. This is like a second job. So it's definitely a thing. I think within the realm of hobbies, like how much do I spend overall on like video gaming per month? It definitely depends on the month. I would say it is probably somewhere like right about in this range, ironically enough, probably somewhere in the about $200 range per month. And it certainly can go up, it certainly can go down, but I do feel like that's a pretty standard amount. How much okay, so of that amount, how much is spent on smartphone games? All right, never mind. Let's just go ahead and let's just let's see. It's probably going to double at that point. So let's go ahead and divide it in half and say about half of that is spent on smartphone games. You guys know I've played, you know, the occasional other gacha game. I have dabbled, but I never really stick with them. So all of this is getting spent on FGO. It is not getting spent on other things. And this number as well goes up and down with me because while I might spend $200 one month, I might spend no money the next month, and then I might spend $1,000 the month after that. But I do feel like $200 is about a nice even amount of like over time. Here's my average. Please select all the media and services that you regularly use. Well, so over here in the States, we don't really use things like Line or anything like that. I definitely use Twitter. And I think, again, they want to know this because this tells them the markets that they need to hit for their marketing, for their outreach, for their advertisement. So, again, it's like why you have the official FGO Twitter account. We also know that they have been doing TikTok for a while now, but I definitely use Discord. This is actually really interesting because I also believe that this is the first time I've seen Discord on this. I think I've seen it on the NA one. I don't think I've seen it on the JP one. Now, I may be incorrect and I may be not remembering because it has been a long time since we've had a JP survey. Our last JP survey was January of last year. So we are going on, like 18 months, basically, since our last survey. But I do feel like Discord was not here before. Discord has become a lot bigger within the last year or two in Japan. Yeah, and I could see that. And this is definitely a thing. So you guys know I commission a lot of artists. Sometimes with artists, it's like pulling teeth to get them on Discord. But I have started to see as a couple of those artists have willfully come over to Discord. And it is so much nicer for communication. I hate conversing via Twitter DMs. They are terrible. Whereas Discord, I'm just like boom, 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 boom. It's so much easier for linking, for chatting, and just like keeping track of. So I really, really do like it in that sense. Definitely Pixiv. And chat, I'm gonna say this. Do me this favor and select this, even if you don't. And here's why. I really, truly believe FGO made a mistake when they stopped doing art contests. They recently did one again, and sure enough, it got a bunch of people to draw FGO. And I think they kind of need to realize that, like, yes, this is actually one of their avenues to success. I can't understate enough how much in anime, in gaming, and in gacha gaming especially, that art plays a role. So dear freaking God, they need to absolutely be doing full court presses on that side of thing. They really need to start getting the artists to come back to FGO more than they have, at least. I don't really use Instagram. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. Like I said, we don't have Line. TikTok. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really use TikTok. I feel like I should. I feel like it would help me understand the current generation, but I don't have time for it. Which is ironic because TikTok is like the fastest of all of them. Mixi. I don't know what Mixi is, so that's just a thing. And then let's see, is there any other social network that I use? I mean, like YouTube and stuff. So it's also really interesting that that's a thing, but it is what it is. Okay, so there we go. I can literally uncheck it because they have it right here. Video distribution and sharing services, YouTube. I don't do Nico, obviously, because that's Japan only for the most part. Abima, never heard of it. Amazon Prime Video. Yeah, sure. So in a weird way, this might actually help them to advertise on Amazon, but Amazon over here is different than Amazon in Japan. Japan has its own Amazon, and you can't buy from it without a like third party in between. And I know this because I've had to buy some stuff from it. But so in that regard, like if you select this, it's not like, again, this is a JP survey. They're not going to come over here and advertise on the like, you know, Western Amazon Prime stuff. It's just going to be over there in Japan. But just understand that like this is my way of answering truthfully regardless. No idea what Dazen is. TVer. Actually, I do know that TVer was used for one of their recent like. Was that where they streamed the marathon of, was it K&K or something? Or Fate Stay Night or whatever, when they did their announcement of the collab event on JP this year, the Maho. But I feel like it was something like that. Hello, Leonhard. I don't know what D-Anime Store is. Lamino, no. I mean, technically I use Disney Plus. Are they really gonna advertise on Disney Plus with like, you know, like all the boob jiggle and like skimpy outfits and stuff like that? Go for it. Be my guest. Netflix. And again, like all these are gonna be region locked to Japan. I don't really use Hulu. Unext. Talasa. FOD. NHK on demand. YouTube Live, I do use. Oh, they actually asked about Twitch. To my knowledge, the Japanese are not really on Twitch, which is unfortunate because I really wish that they were. But I also understand that being on Twitch, probably with all that interaction that they would have with Westerners, would probably upset them. So I kind of get it. There are some people that are on Twitch. It's just not nearly as popular over there. And I do feel like a lot of them use stuff like Nico and YouTube more than they do this. Apparently Twitter is becoming a bigger thing, just like globally for streaming. I haven't really seen this yet. I have seen people do like talk rooms where they get on there and it's just sort of like almost like a Discord channel. But it's kind of weird because like I feel like anyone can hop into those. At least I think. I don't know. Or like anyone can listen. So I can see that being used for content creation. I can't really see it being used by your average person. So otherwise, like it is what it is. Game related services. Yes, I use DL site. At least I have in the past. App Media. I have not really used Famitsu. I can go ahead and turn this on though, because I'm going to say that like Trubs uses Famitsu, and I always end up working with Trubs on the translation of that article every single time, because Trubs ends up, it's an exhaustive process for him to translate that entire article line by line, And then like I basically sit there and I TLDR it so that like we get all the bullet points that actually matter out of it. And you know, I have seen people that summarize it before, but a lot of people get overly simplistic with it. And I try to at least like hit the major things that get talked about, like overall, and avoid spoilers, because I feel like that's another issue that article usually has. Nasu sits there and talks about the story that's happened over the last year. Can't say I use any of these others. Ebook services and manga apps. I don't really use any manga apps. I used to read manga all the time, but nothing really anymore. So that just is what that is. Music apps and services. YouTube music. I don't really use any of these others. I'm sorry. I feel like now YouTube is so accessible for music that I just don't care. And like things like Spotify, I have so many issues with. I stopped bothering with Spotify because my account used to get hacked like every freaking 2 weeks on Spotify. And it was just like, this is stupid. I'm done. It's just not worth it. Other services, information retrieval, shopping sites and apps, bulletin boards, non-game news sites, summary blogs, and personal information sites. Become a novelist. I assume this is a translation issue. So yeah, like again, I don't think you have to go crazy on this section. It just is what it is, and they're just kind of trying to know. Please tell us what home game consoles and PCs you own. Okay, they clearly want to know this either for FGO or for other games. This is direct. It's the only reason they would need to care. Though, to be fair, they have asked this question before. And I think that's why, like, you see so many releases on things like PlayStation 4, is because the vast majority of gamers still own a PlayStation 4. So yeah, I mean, I can sit here and I can check that on. I do not own VR. I do own a Nintendo Switch. I do not own an Xbox. I do not own a Steam Deck. I do own a Windows PC. You know what? I'm going to turn on Steam Deck. And here's why I'm going to turn it on. Because it implies Steam is a necessary platform for them to go to. So even though I don't own one, yes. And then I'm going to say Steam app. Just throw that in there. But again, it's telling. They're going to know I'm American at this point, or at least English speaking, since I'm not typing in Japanese. And you could translate all of this to Japanese if you wanted to. It's just that would be you going the extra mile to try and hide it, which, unless you conjugate everything perfectly, I don't know that it's going to translate that well. So I don't really recommend it. It's probably just better to put it in English and let one of them translate it. All right, please list all the methods you have used to purchase games within the last year. All right, let's see. To purchase games, I've never purchased a game off of Amazon. Well, no, okay, that's technically not true. Back when I was buying like console games and getting physical copies, that was the thing. But within the past year, I have not. E-commerce sites other than Amazon. No. DL site, no. I haven't used DL site in years. DMM games, no. Epic Game Store, no. Look into my eyes, chat. No. Do not. Microsoft Store. While I have used this for Game Pass, I am not taking this one on. And the reason why is because Microsoft Store may have been the shittiest store that I have ever used. Like gaming wise. It is that bad. PlayStation Store, yeah, I've used that. Steam, yep. Nintendo eShop, yep. Subscription service, Xbox Game Pass. Same deal. So like you can skew your answers here. Now, this is me being somewhat of an activist with regards to gaming, but I'm not the hugest fan of Microsoft right now or the Game Pass and how they're operating with it. I understand that it is marketed as a really good thing, and it is a quote-unquote really good deal for the consumer. But I actually feel like what it is resulting in over time is less money going to developers that need it rather than more. Because in a sense, you get a cut of all of Microsoft's earnings contingent on how much they made from the Game Pass and contingent on how many downloads you got. While I understand that that's a good thing, when you're sitting here and you're going like, man, I've got a game that sells for $70 otherwise, and instead someone pays a $15 subscription instead of the 70, yeah, they get a portion of that $15. It's not nearly the same amount as they would make off the $70. Now, that being said, Game Pass does help fund the development of games, so it's kind of used in that regard, but I don't think it's a good strategy long term to have everybody get on a subscription. So, ironically enough, I really don't want anything Fate related going on Game Pass. I feel like that could work for other games. I don't really want to see it for stuff like our visual novels and everything else. I feel like they'll waste all their time trying to do crap like this instead of doing, again, something like Steam that's just going to work way better for a visual novel format. So it is what it is, but yeah, I'm not going to actually tick that one on. Subscription service, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not going to tick any of these on. It's not just a vendetta against Game Pass. I don't think either of these are a good idea for a Fate game. I've not gone to a retail store in over a year. That hits hard, man. Please tell us which other app other than Fate Grand Order you have played for more than a month in the last 6 months. So again, if you guys play any other gacha games, these are going to be the big ones that they're kind of trying to determine is who their competition are, who they need to be looking at in terms of not only, like, again, competition, but also, hey, maybe this is what we can aspire to. Maybe this is someone that we can glean some information off of for how we can conduct ourselves. So there's definitely some interesting things. You can see you got Arc Knights here. You've got Azure Lane. We've got Uma Musume. We know Uma Musume is their top competition in Japan. Straight up. Just right there. I have no idea what most of these are. I have not heard of them. Grand Blue Fantasy is another big one that's been around for a long time. Genshin Impact, obviously stuff like Genshin and Star Rail and Wuthering Waves are making strides in Japan nowadays. They are still not like as big as the actual Japanese stuff, but they are actually like growing over time. Because again, it's just one of those deals where this is something that, like, it's popular. The Japanese people see it be popular. They want in on it, and there is a server in their area, so they just absolutely go do it. But no, I have not played Genshin Impact for more than a month in the past year. Jujutsu Kaisen, Nikkei. I've heard that Nikkei is growing in Japan, but I think it's kind of the same deal, and I think it's to a lesser extent than stuff like, again, Honkai Star Rail. I think Star Rail is probably the biggest non-Japanese gacha game in Japan right now, if I had to bet. Tower of Fantasy. I don't remember when Tower of Fantasy was, but I think it was more than a year ago, so that doesn't qualify. Puzzle and Dragons is always like ridiculously high earning. Ever Crisis. Chat, did they close down Ever Crisis, or is that the one that's still going on? Blue Archive. Yep. I do believe Blue Archive's getting pretty big over there as well. In fact, Blue Archive might be bigger than Star Rail. Blue Archive is definitely one of the bigger ones. That's the new one? Okay. Pokemon Go, Pokemon Sleep. Oh, this is really interesting. Ooh, they didn't get Wuthering Waves. Or did I miss it? No, it's not here. Interesting, which I guess Wuthering Waves technically hasn't been out an entire month, but like I would think they'd still put it on here, right? And see how many people tick it on just to get that data. Which again, I played Wuthering Waves for all of 2 days, chat, and I dropped it. I did not really enjoy it. It seemed very much like Genshin to me. Which again, it's fine if you guys do. It's one of those deals where it's like, I kind of already went into it. I knew what to expect. I wanted to see just how different it was. I determined that while it was different, it was not different enough for me. And I just said, okay, I kind of know what this is. It's a known quantity now. I do believe Kuro Games will handle it better than MiHoYo has been handling Genshin, but that's, again, because Kuro Games got all their eggs in that basket right now. But yeah, I'm really surprised they didn't put that on there. Please tell us the home video games and PC games you have played within the last year. Optional. Oh, come on. 400 characters or less? Bruh. Okay, so let's go Baldur's Gate 3. Let's go Elden Ring. Please collab with Miyazaki. Let's see here. What else? Samurai Remnant. They're gonna care about that. Helldivers, sure. I'll put Helldivers on there. Same thing with Honkai Star Rail. It's a Genshin look like. It certainly looks like it. I wouldn't say that it's like it plays like Genshin. I think to a degree it does, but it is certainly Honkai Star Rail is closer to me to FGO than it is to Genshin. But that's just me. Hades 2. Monster Hunter. There, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I feel like those are games that are relevant to them and that they'll want to know. Oh, also Palworld. Funny. Anyways, of all the home and PC games you have played in your lifetime, which is your favorite? Oh, fuck. Of every game that I have ever played. Impossible question. It's... I have to go with the one I've spent the most time in, chat. Sorry, it's not Elden Ring. It's the truth. Please select all that apply to what you are looking for in a smartphone game. Interesting. Yeah, so we get asked this every single year, and I've talked about this. There are numerous ways that you can perceive this. So you can kind of game this one as well, where you should respond in certain ways for how you want FGO to be. Furthermore, you should not click yes on some of these if you determine that it would put something into FGO that you don't like. So for instance, anything PvP related, you feel like there's a like, oh man, I want a sense of competition or something like that, you need to not check that one. That's how you get PvP, right? So that's, I feel like you can read into some of these. So I want to relieve stress. In other words, I don't want the game to be stressful. I want to feel a sense of accomplishment. This one's okay, right? Like, sense of accomplishment can just mean achieving of goals. It could mean having actual in-game achievements, right? Like, it does not necessarily mean anything else. I want to be excited. You want the game to actually, like, you know, be exciting. I want to use my head. So this is if you want the game to be a little bit more complex. You want to have it give you puzzles and have you think. I do actually like this. I don't have an issue with it. I want to escape from everyday life. I want to feel refreshed. Sure. Yeah, you know what? I need when I play FGO, Lartoria to show up and hand me like a beer. An ice cold beer. And just be like, "Here, my husband, drink." That's what I need. I need refreshment. I want to be healed. Yes, I need sexual healing from Lartoria. Again, so some of these I assume are translation issues, right? But I can at least determine that like something like I want to be healed is going to be something like again, just like I want to be relaxed, I want to have a good time. I want the game to be rejuvenating. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be fun, right? I want to kill time. So this is an interesting one. You can choose this, but this is a double-edged sword. So for those of you that have too much time on your hands, this is a great one to select. For those of you that have too much time on your hands, but play 12 different gacha games, you don't want to select this one. For those of you that have very little time on your hands, you don't want to select this one. This is not a good idea if you don't have a lot of time to spend on the game. Furthermore, if you don't want to spend a lot of time playing the game. Yeah, that's a big thing to understand. Enjoy with family, friends, and colleagues. So you could argue this is somewhat of a community aspect question, but I think this one's safe. I want to win the competition. Do not select this one unless you want PvP. No, don't do it, chat. I want to immerse myself in the story. Yeah, again, you want story to be immersive. You want it to actually be well written and good, right? I want to interact with other players in the game. So this one, it's kind of the same as this. Like, you could, again, determine that this is saying, like, hey, I want there to be a community. I want to actually have ways to interact with them. It doesn't necessarily directly mean PvP. And I think this is an important thing. Because one of the things that we have seen is that some of these other games do a better job of having a multiplayer aspect. I'm okay with this. I actually do want this. And I don't think it's a bad idea to have this. I want to feel the excitement. Yes, in my pants. I want to enjoy the strategy of the game. In my pants. I want to have a simulated experience. Ooh, this one could be interesting, right? Because again, this might mean something like again that it's yeah, I mean it could be something like VR, right? It could also just be something where it's roguelike. It could be something where it's just everything is kind of controlled. So it's difficult to say what this would be. I'm going to click it on, but I don't really know off the top of my head. Without looking at the kanji, I couldn't tell you, right? I want to be moved. Yes, carry me to another location. Again, I assume it means emotionally, right? I want to express myself. Sure. And again, I think this is an important one too, because this is signifying, hey, I would like more ways to express myself in the game. Again, in terms of like accomplishments or goals, like things that you could show off, different skins, different heck, maybe even different like ways to customize your master profile and stuff like that, right? Like, but it's just I want to have that ability to actually like, show off that I am who I am. I want to feel superior. I don't need to. I already do. No, I'm just kidding. Again, I would actually not recommend putting this one on. This one very much so goes in line with I want to win the competition. These two are pretty much the PvP questions as far as I'm concerned. I want to be surprised. Yes. I don't want everything to always be the same. I want to experience the charm of the characters. Yes. I want to be a resident of that world. I mean, I don't know that I want to be a resident of the Bleach Earth. But like, yeah, I think what this is also asking is that like you want to feel like you're so engrossed in it that you're in the world yourself, or again that there are ways to actually interact with the world. So I do agree with that. I want to enjoy trendy things. Do me a favor. If any of you guys want quality of life from other games, click this one on. It's a smart idea, right? Like you want to enjoy the things that are trending with other games. And I think that's actually a good idea. There's only 50 characters I can put here, but it's really, really weird. I want a I want a more interactive My Room. Okay. Don't worry, chat. There'll be plenty of time to complain. How do you normally get information about smartphone games? So, again, this is just them trying to figure out where they get it for the same reasons of not even necessarily advertising, but now like, hey, where do they actually put out information that you need to know about? So, again, you could sit here and you could say like, hey, yeah, you know, stuff like Twitter, right? Like literally I want actually on the official Twitter account them to keep posting stuff. You know what? Again, chat, you want them to have an official Discord? I do. Dear God, I do. And I'm going to say this as to why. I would love there to be an official Discord so that the unofficial Discord that we have can stop acting like they're official. And that would be great. Because I feel like it would knock a bunch of people that have way too big of opinions of themselves down a peg. And that would be awesome. I would actually like to see that be a thing. Do I think they will, though? No. No, I don't. Because that's Aniplex. And I don't think Aniplex just has the time or the care. And I think, I'm going to be honest, I'm at the point now where I feel like a good chunk of the problems with the game and its perception are an Aniplex issue. Not even really like a Type Moon, because I feel like everybody likes Type Moon, everybody loves Nasu, so I can only assume that the reason we don't have more robust marketing, more robust outreach to the community, and again a asinine stance of like you can't stream our game has everything to do with Aniplex. So I blame them for that. And not necessarily the people working for Aniplex. We're talking the bigger ups that are making all the decisions. Social media, other, Nico, YouTube, game commentary, and official live broadcast. Web game related information site. Web game strategy and review site, sure. So I do like that they do the Famitsu article. It's one of the few times we actually get to hear from them. So we're gonna go publications, game-related magazines on this. I'm also gonna select outdoor large screens and posters, etc. Because again, they need to be doing more of that. They need to be seen, and they need to start showing themselves off a little bit more, and not like, you know, oh, we're Fate, and thus you know what you're getting. I feel like they rest too much on the laurels of the IP at this point, especially in year 9 of their game. I feel like they really need to start getting out there and actually advertising, actually trying to combat some of the stuff. And then I'm also going to add under here, because it didn't really give you an option, but Twitch streams. Please select all that apply that to what prompted you to download a smartphone game. I found out through X. Found out on Discord. Watch gameplay videos, official live broadcasts. Saw it featured in magazines and books. Watch family, friends, and colleagues play. Remember, you're selecting these. You can tell them the truth, but you should select these for what you want to see them do, right? You get posters on stations and trains. Watch a TV commercial. Influencers such as Vtubers and YouTubers were the trigger. Oh, yes. Please tell me they're finally understanding that. I know celebrities are playing. Invited when with family, friends, or colleagues. Because I like the anime or manga. And there's so many good ones to pick here. My favorite Twitch streamer plays them. I'm sorry, chat. And the reason why you're going to see me mention Twitch a lot is because they absolutely have the YouTube side of things. They know that that's a thing. They need to start recognizing that this is also a component. I feel like Aniplex is like tone deaf. They do not understand the Western market. They do not understand what they need to actually do on this side of things. And that the more they actually try to do these things, the better off they'll be. The better off and the more outreach they'll actually have. Why'd you start playing Fate Grand Order? I always loved the Fate series. Okay. And this is actually true. I technically tried to play when the game first came out in Japan, and I could not discover a way to do so. So I would have started with the Japanese server if I could have actually found a way around the language barrier. But at the time, I did not know. It was not until later after I started playing the NA version that I found out how. So this is just a pick one. So let's see. Again, you've got all the various games that you could have played. Imagine playing arcade first. No. God, that has got to be like just the worst way to get in. Well, not the worst, but like one of the worst. They actually didn't have it. Wow. All right, I have to answer truthfully, chat. I saw art of it on Pixiv. You can replace the word art with another word. Actually, I'm going to change this to FGO. Arcade still going? Arcade still runs. It's just, it's not getting anything new. When did you start playing Fate Grand Order? Oh, this is a difficult one. So... it would have been here. From what media did you usually get information about Fate Grand Order? Please select all that apply. The official X account. Notices from the management. Official radio program. They need to keep doing that. That's actually one of the better things that they do. I do not get anything from these. And while they are fun, I never freaking read them. That being said, I'm still clicking it on. Learn about Fate Grand Order through videos? No. I didn't. Is this a thing? I didn't even know they had it. I think it was those two dudes that were putting them out for a while, because I remember they brought them up for anniversary. Smart News, Fate Grand Order channel. No, I don't know what any of these are. X other than official accounts, yes. YouTube, Discord. Live broadcasts other than official live broadcasts. A magazine. News site specializing in game information. No, you know what? It's actually more of this. Oh no, never mind. It's not that. It's this. We'll just say Twitch stream. Arr! Okay, we are halfway, chat. What are your 3 favorite works in the Fate series? So I always have a difficult time answering these. You guys know. Obviously, stuff like Fate Stay Night, right? But actually, technically, I have not done Fate Stay Night. I've done Rialta Nua, and I still haven't finished it. I need to get down with that. My 3 favorite works in the Fate series. So definitely these 2 so far. But let's hold that thought. Oh, 3 favorite works. Basically free advertising. That's just how Aniplex is. I suspect it's a liability thing. We'll turn off Fate Grand Order and we'll turn on Fate Samurai Remnant. Fate Grand Order is going to get a bunch of clicks anyway, so it's a dead pick. There's no advantage to picking it. So anime. Oh, this is also including it. Come on, make these separate, you assholes. All right, now we turn off all the games. Okay, so Fate Zero. Grand Carnival. Motherfucker. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, one is Studio Dean and the other is the other is UFO Table. Pick at your own peril, chat. I'm probably gonna pick Fate Zero because Fate Zero is my favorite. I'm gonna pick Grand Carnival, and then I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in their plans, and I'm going to get biased, and I'm gonna say Camelot. So again, I totally understand why some people like a bunch of the other stuff, like Babylonia, and again other things. But chat, I feel obligated to give this some love because no one else will. I don't care about the comics. I don't care about the books. So again, you guys can choose what you want here. It does look like no matter what you pick, other is an option. So there are too few choices for this question. That may be 50. Well, whatever. We'll see. How often do you pay Fate Grand Order? I think it's also telling that this is the best response. There is literally not an every day. There is a almost every day. You are not allowed to answer every day. How many hours do you play Fate Grand Order a day? Yep. What is your favorite chapter in the main quest of Fate Grand Order? From one from part 1.5 and one from part 2 onwards. Okay, so 1 to 1.5. So you could pick any one of these. Well, I'm sorry, but this is my bias coming in again. You guys are welcome to pick whatever the hell you want, but when they do me like this, I straight up have to pick it. I'm sorry. It's Saberface bias, chat. And again, pick whichever one you are biased to yourself. Part 2 onwards. Oh, this one's difficult. So obviously on JP, they are all the way into Ordeal Call. We have not had this on an A. We have not had this on an A. We have not had that, and we have not had that. So none of those, as far as I'm concerned, are pickable options for me, because I'm not going to pick something that I haven't read, okay? And I understand that that's a thing, but please understand that most of these will get a recency bias bump up from the Japanese players anyways. So to me, I'm gonna basically choose from one of these. Let's see, we've got the prologue, we've got Anastasia, we've got Goddardammerung, we've got Sin, we've got Yuga Kestra, we've got Atlantis. So for a long period in time, Atlantis was my favorite. I think I can easily say that. Like, in a weird way, Olympus has so much more going on, but Atlantis just felt so much better written to me. And I don't know why. It has always felt that way. And it may have just been the supporting cast was kind of better for that. But let's see. Then you've got Heian Kyo, which is 5.5. You've got Lost Belt 6. You've got Tunguska, and you've got Trom. Now, Trom is certainly really good. In a bunch of ways, I can say that I actually believe Trom to be better than LB6. But I'm still going to give it LB6. And this isn't due to my bias so much as, like, there's a lot that I do not like in LB6. There are times that I feel like Nasu is subverting his own lore. Some of that may have been translation issues. Some of that may have been just the way that he wrote it himself. But Nasu cooked on this one. And while I can certainly nitpick the hell out of it, I have to respect the body of work and the sheer insanity it took to come up with this concept for a fairy version of Camelot and how he managed to make most of that work. And yeah, I gotta give him credit. I believe this is still, to date, the best chapter in the second part. And I don't think anything that has come after it has surpassed it. But we'll see. And I said, again, to me, there are some things that Trom does better than it. Trom is close. I do feel like Trom is up there probably with 5.1 as like, you know, again, probably one of the top 3 so far that I have read at this point. Okay. So, how do you feel about the story of Fate Grand Order? Please select all that apply below. So, the scenario is more interesting, is as interesting, or less interesting than I expected. This is weird because, like, depending on how you think about this, you got to think about the response they're looking for. If you sit here and you say that the scenario is less interesting than expected, it means they got to do better. So, to you people that read on JP and are actually caught up, the world's your oyster. If you do not like how story is going, you can tell them you want to see it be more interesting. If you're okay with it, pick this one. If you feel like they surpassed your expectations, go with this one, right? And I think that's A-okay. So there are a lot of scenarios. Don't pick this one. This is the answer that basically means there's too much story. And I don't think that's a good one to pick if you like story, right? Maybe there's people that don't, but just the right amount of scenarios. There are too few scenarios. So this is actually the one I've been picking. They are not doing enough story. They have certainly over time, they have morphed and they have spread story into different aspects. Like, for instance, the story in events goes so much harder now than it used to a couple of years ago. They're doing way more with their ancillary stuff. But as cool as that is, sometimes I feel like they cook too long on the events and not enough on the main chapters. And I would prefer that the term I like to use is rather uncouth, but it is shit or get off the pot, right? I feel like they take so long sometimes to actually come out with main story that I kind of just want Lost Belt to be done at this point. It's not that I think it's bad. It's just that I want some conclusions. I want some answers. I want this to wrap up and move on and get on to a new chapter. It's the equivalent of waiting for like George R.R. Martin to actually finish his freaking Game of Thrones series. Like A Song of Fire and Ice. He is taking so long to get this next book out. It has been, what, more than a decade now? And it feels like not the same degree here, but certainly to an extent, as we are getting fed piecemeal over time. And we have been on part 2 now since they refused to call Ordeal Call its own thing and saying that it is Cosmos in the Lost Belt. We have been on part 2 for 6.5 years, contrasting that with part 1, which was 1.5 years, part 1.5, which was 1 year. So there were 2.5 years that the game had prior to part 2. The rest have all been spent in part 2. Yeah, no, I think this is atrocious. I think they absolutely need to get on with it. I think if they go longer than 6 months without a story chapter, it is too long, in my opinion. And I mean main story. I don't mean, again, 0.5s. I don't mean other stuff. I'm okay if they work in the 0.5s and they want to drag that out a little bit more. But I really don't like that they have taken this long-term stalling pattern. So I really want to see them get on with it. I want to see us get to a new chapter and see where that leads. I really want that for this game. And then again, you could say I want more scenarios. The amount of scenarios added are just right. Plenty of additional scenarios. So yeah, no, I want more scenarios. There are too few. Add more is basically what I'm saying here. So again, you can respond in like kind. If you feel like there are, again, it's the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. If it's just right, if it's too much, if there's not enough, pick your according one. And depending on what you want them to do, it should almost be the inverse of whatever you pick, right? Unless you pick like, well, it's just the right amount, so then the amount is just right? That one's going to be the same. So I really want to move on from Cosmos in the Lost Belt. And I think that's the truth. I just absolutely do. Like, I like it, but I want to see something different other than we're, having crazy things. Okay, I'm just going to pull out the word really there. How do you feel about battles in Fate Grand Order? Please select all that apply below. The difficulty of battle is difficult. The difficulty of battles is just right. The battle difficulty is easy. This is a tough one because I think it definitely depends on your account. It depends on how long you've been playing, and it depends on overall how you feel about the game. Like, do you want more challenge content? Do you want less challenge content? Are you okay with things the way that they are, right? Like, that's how you answer this one. So if you feel like the game is too challenging, you can straight up select this one. If you feel like the game is too easy, you could straight up select this one. If you feel like the game is just right, you can select this one. And I'm going to select the just right. I actually do like the overall balance of difficulty. There's times where I feel like they make the game too difficult. There's times where I feel like they make the game too easy. And so the majority of the time I'm sitting right here in between because it's just what they've been doing for a long time. Battles take a long time. Battle time is just right. Battle time is short. I have said this before. I do feel like some of the battles are beginning to take too long. So particularly with things like Grail fronts, particularly with things like certain challenge fights, like I'm okay with the occasional one being an outlier, but it definitely feels like at times that there are some that are meant to go like 50 plus turns. And I'm just like, to me, it's a mobile game. It's meant to be played, and this is the dev zone terminology, it's meant to be played as you have the time to play it. Content that takes upwards of a half hour to complete, I feel like kind of begins to violate that premise. So especially when it gets upwards of an hour, I feel like you're asking a lot for a mobile game crowd. For people that have short attention spans, busy lives, and are constantly on the go, it's kind of asking a lot to ask them to be able to sit down and spend a ton of time. I get it. I understand people want more to do in the game. I have no problem with that. But to me, I'd rather there be more to do and the battles and each individual thing does not take as long than have, few things that just take forever, right? I feel like I would rather have the ability to break it up, take those breaks, than have to do it all in one fell swoop. Okay. So the battle action is slow. Smooth battle action. And it looks like these two are linked. So either you feel like battle action is too slow or battle action is smooth. I'm okay with this. I actually feel like battle action is smooth. I think you could say that you would maybe want graphics to get better or something like that, but I think they're talking more about the actual pace of actions in the game. And I feel like if you speed this up more, it's going to be bad. It's going to look really, really bad. So I'm okay with it being the way it is. Battles are exhilarating. There's a sense of accomplishment in battle. Feel the thrill of battle. So I don't really know on these. Like, this is where it starts getting like translation issue, right? I can certainly say the last three are linked. Because battles feel like a chore. Battles are boring. Battles are tedious. I can kind of say this one at times, but I think we're going to go with battles are tedious. Because I do think there are some that are overly like... And again, this really depends on the content. Challenge content, I think there's some where like you have to read a freaking college thesis to know all of the abilities that an enemy is going to do. I prefer much simpler but difficult to overcome gimmicks. That's it. I don't need the enemy boss doing 20 gajillion things. I just want the enemy boss to be like, it's that unit and it does like 3 or 4 things that are annoying. Pick something to counter it. And that's it. That's all you got to do. The last 3 are the same answer. It feels like that to me. But yeah, again, the battles are exhilarating. There's a sense of accomplishment in battle. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give them that. The battles are exhilarating. I don't know what feel the thrill of battle is right there, right? Like, that's... Some of these are kind of odd. Hello, Poco. How's it going? Let's see. You know what? I'm actually going to add something. Okay. And that's it. Like, I don't need to say more than that. I'm not here to be like, oh man, how dare they put challenge content in our game? Or like, I don't want them to like make a fight take a while. It's just some of it goes too long and they need to be cognizant of how long that takes. How do you feel about the number of servants implemented in Fate Grand Order? Please choose an answer that best applies. Ooh, spicy. So, in the past, we have been asked this question many times. This definitely depends on how you feel about this, right? Because some people don't want the servant roster to continue to bloat. Other people want the game to keep releasing new servants because that's what excites them and that's what keeps them playing the game. And I think it really, really depends. It depends on how you see yourself and what you find enjoyment in. If you're somebody that doesn't spend money on the game and you're a more free-to-play unit, you probably don't need as many units released into the game. But I still feel like even as a free-to-play, you can appreciate shiny new units and you want there to be a bunch. And the reason why you want there to be a bunch is because that's more opportunities for you to get something you want, you really like, your favorite type of character, right? So I'm going to actually pick this a little low because I kind of low-key do feel like that at times. I feel like they spend a lot of time kind of coming up with the story and not necessarily giving us the characters. But then there's times where, like, you know, we'll get like one character, like an event, and then there's times where it's like, oh, suddenly you get like 7. And so it's really weird. So I'm not going to say, hey, just blow us out of the water and start, like, you know, shotgunning everything. But while I do feel like this would be the answer most of the time, I feel like they can step it up a little bit, because part of the problem that I've been having with them is, chat, they are still on pace, I believe, this year to only run 10 events. They're just not running nearly as many events as they used to. And that is definitely making the game feel like it just does not have as many units coming into it. We'll see, though. I don't think that that's necessarily true, but I'm going to go ahead and give that response for right now. Please choose one of the servants implemented in Fate Grand Order. So don't read too much into this. Just, it's, okay, so I'm looking forward to the implementation of a completely new servant. So do you want someone that's totally new character-wise? I'm looking forward to seeing different aspects of existing servants. I'm looking forward to both completely new servants and new aspects of existing servants. This is your answer, okay? I'm tempted to actually just go ahead and pick this, because this is the truth of how I really feel. I feel like FGO has been shotgunning new people, not properly developing them, and they're people that are like new and you don't necessarily have that same attachment to them. You don't necessarily care. So I kind of understand why, but I definitely feel like, especially as a veteran of the game, and anyone else that probably is at this point, that some of us kind of want to see our favorites done some justice. Okay? I know, I'm a Saberface lover. It's not like, you know, my favorite hasn't gotten a ton of iterations. But I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that there are some fan favorites out there that have just never been touched. They have not gone back and given them justice, really. So they really do need to start hitting that nostalgia kick more than they have, because they have not done it. So to me, the majority of you want to answer this, that you're looking forward to both a new unit and new aspects of an existing one. I am changing my answer for once. I am actually going to give them this, because I purely want to see this at this point. They could do an entire year of no new character, and I would be pleased. I would actually be pleased. Most people would probably not take that answer. But I could actually see that if all of a sudden you started getting, Heracles, Raiko, freaking Medusa, Cersei. You started getting characters that people actually got into Fate for. and know and love, or characters that have appeared and been also Rans in every event that they do. And you would actually start getting more iterations of them. And I feel like that'd be good. Alba, thank you for the 49. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing good. I want Oki to be put in a story chapter. Right, and that's exactly why I'm answering this. I think FGO is forgetting a lot of what makes it popular in favor of just trying to hit a new hit, capture lightning in the bottle again with a new character. So we've kind of come full circle at this point, and now I want them to actually start going back and actually tapping into that nostalgia. And the example I use for you guys is like almost 2 years ago now when it happened, when we had LB7 come out, and all of a sudden there was Nito Alter. And everyone, it did not matter what her gameplay was. Everyone was excited because it was Nito and she was hot. And that's exactly all you needed to sell that unit. So it's kind of the same thing. I feel like if they actually go back and hit some of those characters that in like the first 2 years of FGO just really made it popular, they will do really good from that. That's why I'm answering that question. Okay, when using servant pickup summon, please choose one thing you are particularly concerned about. Ooh! I feel like this is new. Because you can work with your own formation. Because servant's abilities are high. So it's like, why are you going to summon a unit? So in other words, because it can work with your own team. Because the servant's abilities are really strong. Because I want to increase the noble phantasm level of the unit. I liked the voice, visuals, and the setting. Because it's a hot topic amongst my friends. Chat, if any of you answer this, please uninstall the game. Please uninstall. Because, holy crap, you are not to be trusted. You cave to peer pressure, and that is the only reason that you roll the character. If you answered this one, I have no respect for you. Like, you have to be able to decide on your own. Pickup summons have been added. So, okay, so this one I can also shame people for, but it's not as bad. This one is literally just, you're a whale, and the second there is a new character, I roll. It doesn't even have to be new. It's just, the second there's a new banner, I roll. Yeah, I'm gonna say this one definitely depends, but for me, this is actually the answer. I don't care about the gameplay. I care about how it looks, who they are, and how it make my pee-pee feel. And again, there's the saying that if she gets your pee-pee up, you give her the cup, chat. So you got to understand that now there's more cups in the game than ever before. So I just want to say what that CAD guy tells me to do. God damn it. Okay, please provide more answers about, or more details about your answer above. The Noble Phantasm has a special, example answers. The Noble Phantasm has a special attack that would be useful in the content I wanted to clear. My favorite voice actor is in charge. My favorite illustrator drew it. My servant, the servant was announced at Fest. I have decided to draw a servant in a swimsuit costume, etc. Well, let's get ready to type this extremely long answer. I have 200 characters to type this. Okay. So, what was the best in-game event that Fate Grand Order held in 2023? Let's see. Johanna-san and Unconfirmed Love Destroy Love Heart and Oishi statue. CBC 2023 Chaldea Heavy Industries. No. So again, that's Valentine's Day and Chaldea Boys. So I would like to point out, chat, look at all the choices you have here. This is the sum total of all the events they ran last year. And there's actually an extra line because the last one is nothing special. So this is all the events they ran last year. This includes reruns because they didn't do a rerun last year. So they did not do very much. And that was the big thing that I was trying to point out with people. Last year was kind of terrible for them. They're doing better this year, but now, as of this point of the year, we're now in June, they've done an entire month plus of reruns. That definitely sets them back some. We are getting more because of that, but you got to understand that we're probably not going to get more overall events because of it. So it's really weird how they're handling it. Yeah, I don't think you're the 57. I hope you're doing good. 2024 is 6 events so far. Right. Yeah. So we are on pace, and we kind of know that they're going to punt probably about a month's worth. So in order for them to do a full 12 in a year, they would need to probably at least double up in one of the months. Kind of, right? Like they can still do it in 3-week cadences. And I do believe that that is probably part of the issue is it's the 3-week events mean that they just do not have nearly as much time to actually run an event, because they used to kind of just bookend things, just go boom, 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 boom. And now we are in stall mode, and they really got to get out of that. Okay, so we got Lilum Harlot. Oh, hold on. Let's not put a 2 in there. I would like Artoria too, but that might confuse them. You know what? I'm gonna clarify, chat. There we go. Made that clear. Also, and can I not tell it to ignore SMH? So let's see. We've got the arcade event. That's probably the best one as of that point. We've got the Kashin Koji Lotto. The Feet Tower. The Feet Tower was pretty funny because of that, but it is to me the worst of the tower events purely because of how long it took. Servant Festival 2023. So this was the entirety of it being summer. Yeah, I'm sorry, it probably does take the cake. The entirety of LB6 being summer. Wangina, no. The Grail front was actually pretty cool. I'd be tempted to answer this to get more Grail fronts, but Gouda Gouda this year was kind of weird to me. I again, not reading it definitely takes a lot out of it, so I can't really judge it too harshly. Merry Christmas in the Snow, 7 days, 8-year snow carol. Wait, chat, what was Christmas last year, and why did I already forget it? What was Christmas? Neat, that's why I forgot it. Okay. All right, so yeah, it's going to be summer. Summer just was the clear and away winner because nothing else really spoke to me. To me, the next in line is probably Lilum Harlot, and replaying it through on JP right now, I'm not really enjoying it. So it says a lot about the quality of a lot of these events that again, maybe the story is a lot better if you actually read it, but overall, none of these events really were that special to me. I'd say already this year they are doing a infinitely better job than they did last year in terms of quality of the events. What was the best thing about the event that you chose as the best one? I'm glad the story delved into my favorite character. See, so they have this. The unique gimmicks and systems of the event were interesting. There were almost no unique gimmicks and systems last year. Like, the Grail front legitimately had the most. And that's a problem. Like, they've said they don't want to keep doing the same things, but they keep doing the same things. So I can't even really answer that one in good conscience. Distributed servants were good. I was able to get the spirit costume unlocking rights. This feels like cheating, but I should totally answer this. And I think I will. Just because I want more costumes. Bright storyline was good. Last year wasn't good for events. This was the best one. Except this one. There we go. How do you feel about the Holy Grail War taking place in 2023? Please select all that apply. The number of times the event is held is just right. Ooh. It is held infrequently. They should be doing more Grail Fronts. Grail Fronts are fun. I prefer having a Grail Front as like a dead time thing than having actual dead time. Because it at least gives you something to do and talk about with people. It at least contributes towards the community. Rather than, hey, I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. So, like, yeah, no, they need to be doing it more. I'm sorry. Like, I'm okay. It doesn't have to be done like every freaking month or some shit like that. But they need to be doing it more than one time a year. It needs to be something like 2 to 3 times a year, in my opinion. I'm glad the rules are different than usual. It was not because the rules. I'm glad the rules were different from usual. It's actually nice. There are many quests. The number of quests is just right. I think the number of quests were just right. There are a few quests. High volume per quest. The volume per quest is just right. High volume per quest. I actually did feel like the Grail Fronts were a little bit too beefy. Quest difficulty's high. Difficulty was just right. I'm satisfied with the rewards. What were the rewards for clearing that? Hold on, let me look at it. I'm sure there was a grail in there, but... Okay. Tickets? Yeah. Hold on, this was last year on JP. It was in October. The fact that this actually includes the beeping. Grail Front. Wait, the first one? Yeah, the first one didn't have a gold. Yeah, a ticket. Okay. See, the problem to me is these aren't really getting better. They're pretty much the same. And just the rarity of the materials is changing around. Wait, you got 4 from completing it? Huh? How many were there? There were 10? That can't be right. That means you got a non-even number. It would have to be 7 or 14. Wouldn't it? That just doesn't feel right. 14 would be 2 grails, yes. Yeah, but I don't feel like they ever leave us at an odd amount. Like, ever. It's always a multiple of 7. Huh. I don't know. I'll just say I'm satisfied with the rewards. I don't really have a big issue with it. Grail fronts are fun. Run them more. What features were added in 2023 that you felt were good or convenient? Please select all that apply from the list below. Added the effect type to filter function when selecting servants. The effect type to filter function when selecting servants. I'm not a huge fan of like them bloating the filters with a bunch of extra things because I feel like most of these things don't actually matter. In Saint Court Summoning, the appearance rate of the featured 4-star servants has been increased. Yes, that's a good thing. You need to not stop there. Added the ability to search for servant face images in the Valentine's Day event in My Room materials. Expanded your friend slot by 3. Added new item Spirit Wandering Leaf. Yes! Best change of the year. Right there. Maximum level of the master changed to 170. Yes. Addition of class score. Sure. Added normal bond craft essence and chocolate return gift categories to the craft essence filter function. Yes, I actually do like that one because we didn't have any way of separating out Valentine's chocolates and it was stupid before that. Added automatic party group function. Lahavata, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Are we approaching the point where we have a bunch of new servants that are in PAOE? Kind of. There was a period in time where people started like on Twitter making a big deal out of it, and I kept telling everyone it was a non-issue, and sure enough, it was a non-issue. Like it was stupid. People were making a big deal out of like, we've been X amount of months and X amount of servants without a single target, and it just did not matter. We knew we were going to get a single target eventually. Like it just was a really weird thing that someone noticed and then proceeded to harp on. And again, this is what I was talking about, is that like there was a period in time where we just like, again, over all of last year, we did not get a lot of events. We did not get a lot of new units added because of that. And that, I think, exacerbated the issue. So added an automatic party formation function. No, this is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like this could be a good thing. I'm gonna check it on because I want them to improve it, but the way it is right now is trash. It's hot garbage. I will never use it with the way it currently is. Added a rarity in class group items to the servant filter function. Rarity in class group. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Special class servant filter function has been subdivided to allow individual display of extra classes. I mean, yeah, I kind of like it. There's so many things to choose from now. Added a feature that allows you to obtain mana prisms as Saint Court's consumption bonus when performing a Saint Court summon. This is a good change. It does allow for more mana prisms, especially for newer players. However, the fact that it is tied to Saint Court summoning is stupid and bad. And the fact that I only get 50 characters to respond to this is a travesty. They're not going to get good feedback off this survey if they keep limiting. When a quest is cleared, the amount of bond points earned by starting members is increased by 20%. Nope. I will not check this on. This is a bad change. I do not like this. This should have actually been in your backline, not starting members. This is fucking terrible. I know what they're doing with this, and it's straight up designed to make you bond out your units that you're using faster. That's all it is. They want you to roll for more shit. So, yes, you get the benefit of bonding them. Yes, you get the quartz and reward from that faster. However, your unit then ends up at max bond, and they're hoping that that puts pressure on you to actually have to roll more shit. And I don't think that's good of them to do. I would have been okay with them boosting Bond, but they needed to boost the back line, the people that are actually close to the master, not the front line, because they know what they're doing with that. And where people actually work on their Bond projects is in the back line. So it's really stupid to me that they did that. Servant and craft essence possession slots expanded from 7 to 800. Yep, that's fine. Increase the command code slots from 400 to 450. That's fine. Increase the storage slot expansion. Yeah, I mean, these happen every year at anniversary, so I'm not like, yes, it's a good change. Keep doing it. Added a priority display setting for craft essences to sort function when selecting support. Yeah, this is the one that actually allows you to see a specific craft essence. That's a really good change. I don't use it too much on JP because I have to navigate through the menus to do it, but that is a really good change. The concept reimagining shop will be open where you can exchange for event limited craft essences. Yes, it's also really good. Like I'll go ahead and tick that one on. I'll tick that one on. I don't think this mattered in the slightest, and I don't think they needed to spend the time because it's specifically in the My Room materials. Like, I get it, but you know what? No, I'm gonna tick it on just so that this one is the only one that's not ticked on. I want them to see that. Give us Bond 20 and more coins. No, you know what? Yeah. What features added in 2023 would you like to see improved? Oh, baby. Yeah, I mean, I want all of this improved. I don't think that needs to be improved. I think that needs to be improved. Added a feature that allows you to obtain the mana prism as Saint Quartz consumption. I think that needs to be improved. I do not like. This is a good change, but it primarily benefits whales, not free to plays, and I don't like that. Special class in the servant filter function has been subdivided to allow for the special display of extra classes. That doesn't need to be improved. Added rarity in class group. That doesn't need to be improved. Added an automatic party function. That absolutely must improve. Added normal bond craft. That doesn't need to be. Class score. Yeah, I want to see class score improved. Spirit Wandering Leaf, I want to see improved. Friend slots improved. 4-star rate needs to be improved. You just checked on the 20%? I know I did. I literally checked it on because it's what would you like to see improved now of those features? So first they asked you which features were good or convenient. Then they asked what would you like to see improved? And I specifically went and made the very first thing I checked on this because it needs to be improved. Bond should apply to backline. 4-star rate improve. Now can't put that. Fine. There we go. What are your top 3 favorite non-game developments for Fate Grand Order that have taken place so far? Fuck. What do I want to see them do more of? So featured anime has got to be movies, so those two right there. And then a third one. Let's see. Drama CD. They haven't really done any since the launch of the game. Most of them were done at least like either before the game came out or right at the launch. FG of the Stage has been interesting. I'm not sure they need to do more though. Comical adaptation. That's like manga. Novelization, no. Orchestra concert. Honestly, that would be good. That's something that you see, you know, MiHoYo really like try to like emphasize. And I feel like it would be really smart of them to televise that more. But they do it during every Japanese anniversary, at least. So I'm okay with that. Collaboration with other industries. Maybe. Fate Grand Order X Real Escape Game. See, that's never going to win because it's too local. Like, nobody's really going to end up selecting that over other things because while it might be a cool idea, it's only run in certain areas of Japan. Orange, thank you for the 52. Get me from door dashing. Ew. Well, again, I hope you feel better. The Chaldea satellite station. I assume that's their radio, and Fess is their actual anniversary. So, with 50 characters, we get Caveman Cat. Yeah, apparently I have to learn how to type. This is difficult. I don't really know what to pick for the third one. It's like I can kind of select something like that and just say like, yeah, it's your actual anniversary that matters. I don't know. I'm gonna say the collaboration with other industries. I do feel that that's cool, and I think the more they do that, the better it helps spread the game and make it seem like the game is doing stuff. More anime, please. What about Fate Grand Order? What do you like about Fate Grand Order, and what are you looking forward to? The scenario and the worldview. The game volume. This is difficult because I don't know if it means the actual like sound level of the game or if it means the breadth and frequency of the content. I'm gonna suspect that's what it is, the latter. So we're gonna pick that. Characters, graphics, voice actors, illustrators. Sure. Casualness, sure. Popularity, yes, I like its popularity. Make it more pop. Music, background, battle strategy. I don't know about summon. Hold on here. Learning with manga, radio station plus, broadcasting station, new peripheral developments outside of games, improvements to the existing battle system, new rules added for in-game events and campaigns, servant strengthening, spirit origin ascension, craft essences. Yeah, not gonna tick on summon. Improve the pity system, please. What would you like to see improved about Fate Grand Order? Ah, there it is. Summon. Okay. Is there anything else I would like to see really improved in the game? I think the game's volume overall, like the amount that we're getting. New rules added for in-game events. Events and campaigns. Improvements to the existing battle system. You know what? I'm also going to say servant strengthening and spirit origin ascension. Graphics. The scenario. You know what? I also am going to check Illustrator because there have been some weird, like, pat on the back choices where, like, it's Nasu's friend. And while it's okay, I would prefer they went with some, like, more veteran popular artists in the gacha game sphere. I feel like that would actually help them, and it would make some of the characters, like, again, chat, imagine the easy marketing you get when you tap into using a very high profile artist that has a really distinct and good style, and you get them to draw your hot new waifu or husbando, and then everyone drools over that character. It's gonna make people play the game. So yeah, I really do think they need to work on that. New peripheral developments outside the game. I don't think any of this needs to improve. Debating like something up in here. I'm gonna check that on, but I just like, I look forward to it, but I'm not sure how good it is. What artists would you put in the category of Nasu's friends? So for instance, the artist that was the artist of Oberon, the artist that was the artist of God, what's his face? LB7 Assassin. And the reason that I know this is because we've actually had discussions from them where Nasu came out and said, like, oh yes, I really wanted this person to like do this character, and I got in contact with them. I'm not gonna say those aren't high profile people. I'm not gonna say that those aren't good artists. They are. They're fantastic. I'm not sure they necessarily fit FGO. I'm not sure that they are like the hypest thing ever that's gonna bring people in. And we kind of can see this when we see some of the negative responses to the initial like impressions of the art style and stuff like that. Eventually that fades over time. People go like, oh, okay, but I like the character. I like how it's implemented, and I'm okay with it, right? But I feel like that's more people getting used to it than it immediately has that like shock value. It immediately makes you go like, oh yeah, I want that unit, right? So again, I'm not saying they're bad, just that I feel like a lot of those were sort of bucket list people for Nasu, rather than, hey, I want to do the thing that makes the most sense to help the game succeed. If that makes any sense. Compared with like Wada or Raida. Yeah. And again, I think even, so I like Raita's art style, but I think you could even say that Raita has an art style that is controversial, right? Whereas someone like Wada Arco, no, I think Wada Arco is just straight up like always going to be a good one to pick, right? I do think there's enough Raita fans out there that people are a-okay with it, but I feel like if your goal is to try to grow the game and to try to attract more people, they need to actually start hitting some of the other artists that maybe other games are using. And I do feel like that would work well for them. But yeah, I think that's good there, and I agree with someone that's saying, yeah, we're gonna talk about this. Pity system and friend point rolling need improvement. Upgrades. Oh god, that period gets me every time. Questions about your Fate Grand Order gameplay. Please choose the one that applies to you. There was one time when I stopped playing for more than a month. There have been 2 occasions when I stopped playing for more than a month. Have never stopped playing for a month or more on more than 3, or sorry, have stopped playing for a month or more on 3 occasions. I've never stopped playing for more than a month. Now I don't play anymore. Plans to return in the future. This is a question for those who have stopped playing Fate Grand Order for more than a month. Please select all that apply to the account you used when you started playing again. If you have never stopped playing for more than a month, please select never stop playing for more than a month. I've never stopped playing. Okay. So now this is the last portion, chat. This is a question for those who have stopped playing for more than a month. If you've never stopped playing for more than a month, please select never stop playing for more than a month. So again, we can kind of at least talk about this, right? So it's, did you continue on your same account? Did you lose your old account? You want to know why they're asking this, chat? This is a huge issue. This is a huge fucking issue. And I think Aniplex finally woke the fuck up and realized that their lack of modernity basically cost them some players. That without having account binding, they pissed off so many people. They lost so many people over time to not having an actual account system. And that if they just did, it would help them out so much more. So I do feel like that was a huge one for them, and they want to know just how many people are doing this. However, here's the problem. Those people are not taking this survey. Why? One, because it's a stupidly long survey. Two, because you had to have linked your account to do it. And three, because the reward is just 4 tickets. So you are not getting anyone who currently doesn't play the game to answer this survey. This is a dumb question. You will not get very good response on it. So, and again, it may be that they're playing the game now, but they lost it in the past. So I can see at least getting some of that answered. But again, so why did you quit playing, right? Because the story is boring, because the game isn't exciting, the characters aren't appealing, the events have become monotonous. The event being held was a revival event, so I didn't feel it was anything new. I do not believe that anybody has ever really quit the game over something like this. I feel like people just don't play, and that's okay, right? Like, they either just log in and get their login rewards, or they spend their AP down outside of the event and they just keep farming something. But they don't, if they don't like the event, they just don't play. I don't think they quit the game over that. I felt the pace of events was not enough. I don't think it's that. I couldn't meet the participation requirements and couldn't participate in the event. I could see that being an issue, but probably not the hugest of them. Because I couldn't summon the servant I wanted to summon. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be willing to bet this accounts for about 90% of lost players over time. Like, so much so to the point that I have seen so many people rage quit the game. And I've seen so many people come back from a rage quit. And usually what I hear is yeah, I mean, I got shafted by so-and-so. And it's now I'm back and I'm playing again. But they quit because they couldn't get the unit they wanted. And I think that's just an all too common thing. I was waiting for the main story to be updated because I missed out on the consecutive login bonus. I don't think that's ever a reason that people quit, because there are fewer people around to play with. I could see this being an issue. I didn't know how to play it. I cannot see this being an issue. Don't get me wrong, the game absolutely sucks at onboarding, but it's not difficult to pick up. Especially for those early singularities, you can press any button and you will succeed. The worldview was difficult and I couldn't keep up with it. Yeah, I mean, again, this goes back to the point that I was talking about with story, that apparently people consider FGO to have one of the best stories in all of gacha gaming, but the reason that people don't vote it to be the best is because it's too convoluted. And they're 100% right. I think 6.5 proved it. There are so many people that don't understand so many different aspects about 6.5. I myself kind of had to have a long form discussion with Trubs to understand that there were some things that I missed. And that's it's kind of nice that the story has that much depth, but It's certainly an issue with the way things are told in some instances and how long and dragged out everything is. So that, like, because they're taking so long between story chapters, for instance, one of the major points in Lost Belt's story is a character that is a reoccurring character across the Lost Belts. Most people didn't know who that character was for a long time, and then even once they found out, they had forgotten that they had already seen them multiple times and what was said. And that character is integral to the actual story that you had in 6.5. And most people do not realize that. That's a problem with the way the story was paced and how it was presented. So, yeah, I do believe that there is absolutely the argument to be made that FGO, while Nasu 100% cooked when coming up with the story, it is too convoluted. I can see some people being like, you know what, I just don't care because the story goes over my head. And I do think that's the thing. So, and as a result, basically, they don't like the game as much and they end up quitting. I was so busy with school and work that I didn't have time to play. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, like I say, the other one was 90%, but this one actually is probably a good chunk of why people quit. Because I was playing other games, I can see that as well. I've never stopped playing for more than a month. Please select all the reasons that apply for why you started playing again if you've never blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, the story seemed interesting. Felt the game was easier to play. Well, that's just not true. Because attractive characters appeared. Yep. That, chat. That's the reason that the majority of people come back to this game. If someone quits, especially from bad summons, the most likely thing to get them back to playing the game is going to be creating a super attractive character that they really like. That is absolutely going to be the big one. You mean Blue Book Cat? Yes, 100%. And like I said, there are things that I think a lot of people just don't remember about Blue Book. A collaboration event was held because the new events other than the collaboration looked interesting. Yeah. Events and story updates are becoming more frequent. This is not true. And it's the reverse. So this is certainly not the reason that people would actually answer. And I think they'll see that. They ask the question and they go, "Oh, why did no one pick that response?" Oh, because it's not true. There are more people playing around. I could see that. Maybe your friends pick it up and it kind of snowballs. I learned it from the video watching Fate Grand Order. Has given me a better understanding of the game. No. Because I came into contact with other Fate series and understood the worldview. Yeah, I can see that. I do believe that anime, just like how the Fallout TV show is feeding the absolute shit out of the Fallout like genre of games, it's the same thing with FGO's anime. If you have a Fate anime come out and it is popular, that will drive Fate upward in terms of players. That is the smartest thing they can do. The fact that they have not really done any is stupid. I don't know why they stopped doing them. Again, I just assume they don't want to reinvest. I learned, yeah, so because I had time to play, again, that's another big one. There are campaigns such as comeback login bonuses that made people want to play again. No one comes back to a game because of this. They just look for a time to come back because they already wanted to. Because I want to participate in the survey. No one's gonna answer that. I saw how popular it was on social media, recommended by my family, friends, and colleagues. Influencers such as VTubers and YouTubers were the trigger. God, I hope people answer this one. I really do. That will wake them the fuck up. Please select your intention to continue Fate Grand Order as a whole. I want to continue playing as I have in the past. My desire to play has decreased, but I want to play more in the future. I play, but I've recently felt a decline in my motivation to play. I'm going to stop playing soon. This is a very good bellwether question for them. Because if your answer is anything other than this, they need to be freaking the fuck out. They need to be actually freaking the fuck out. Because that just means that you have one foot out the door. You are literally looking for greener pastures or determining that is no longer worth your time. And they need to really analyze why that is. And I think that's just smart, right? Smart of them to do. Please select your level of satisfaction with the current Fate Grand Order as a whole. Satisfied, no complaints. Chat. So again, I'm going to point this out because I've had people gaslight me on like Twitter and say that there's nothing wrong with the game. You are unhinged if you answer this. Like, just in general. You guys should always be wanting this game to improve, okay? The reason why is because it's not perfect. We already know there's numerous issues with the game. Not only, and again, you might differ from me in some of these opinions, but I think most people would agree that, again, something like, say, the pity system needs to get better. Something like FP rolling needs to get better. Maybe, again, the type of servants or the costumes at play getting released and how often they get released. Maybe the release schedule of the story or events. It doesn't matter. No matter how small, if you have a complaint about this game, if you think that something could be better, you should not pick this option. And I want them to kind of see that. I want them to see that while you are still satisfied, there is some dissatisfaction that they need to figure out what's going on. And again, you can select one of these as well if you like. I think this is an important thing for voicing the tone of your play and how you feel about the game. And I'm going to say this, the fact that this is 200 characters or less, again, kind of a travesty. Though, keep in mind, this is Japanese. Japanese kanji is going to be way, way smaller. They have a single, like character for an entire word. So 200 characters is still quite a bit in their language, but yes, it is definitely a thing. And why do I feel this way? The story has slowed down. Pity needs more features. My favorite servants aren't getting featured. I just realized what this is. I've never heard this before. Yeah. Please improve. No, I'm not even gonna say please improve. Please increase them. Allow bond 20. Friend point rolling is terrible. No, I've already used terrible. Let's use atrocious. Oh, it's so much of a better word. And make I was gonna say it makes me want to quit. Okay, there we go. Please tell us if your situation regarding Fate Grand Order has changed due to changes in the social situation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic over the past year. So it shouldn't, but I don't know how things have been in Japan. Japan has had numerous spikes in COVID. I don't know if it's kind of run the course or if it's still like, back with a vengeance over there. So that may have been a thing. Over the past year, they may have had another big increase. And if they did, I don't know about it. After you pay Fate Grand Order. So it may also be them trying to see like, hey, if you're stuck at home during COVID, does that increase the amount that you actually play the game? And thus, can we expect that when there is no COVID, that this number will actually decrease? And thus, we need to go out and cause more COVID in the world, because at that point, then you will have to play more Fate Grand Order. I don't think they'll do the latter. But like the point being, again, like they just kind of want to know, can they expect that your play will increase or decrease over time depending on that? I'm just gonna say it does not change. It's the truth. I don't play more suddenly because there's COVID. Actually, if anything, I'm gonna say I would play less if I had COVID, because I would get sick and I would be bedridden, and then I would not be able to actually play as much. Participating in real events hosted by FGO Project, the Chaldea Satellite Station, etc. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if there's a COVID pandemic, it's likely to decrease. So again, they want to know this because they want to go like, oh shit, is there a massive COVID outbreak? Maybe we shouldn't schedule this live event. But I'm gonna say it does not change. It's the truth. If there was an actual event that I really wanted to go to, I would just fucking wear a mask or some shit. Go like douse myself in like hand sanitizer and go to the event anyways. Participate in FGO collaboration events, cafes, attractions does not change. If you have any other expectations, opinions, requests for Fate Grand Order, please write them here. Oh, God. Please fix the coin system, the servant coin system. I need to say it. Servant coin system, pity system, 4-star pity needs to be added. FP, sorry, I can't abbreviate. Friend point rolling is really boring and takes forever. Please allow our units to go to Bonds 20. Please move on to part 3 with the story. The main story. Please tell Nasu San. Gotta add the honorific chat. To collaborate with Miyazaki-san and make a Dark Souls Fate game. Also, the English form of Artoria is Artoria, not Altria. I feel like that covers most of everything. How many more characters do I have? I still have a ton. Still a ton, chat. Okay, no, never mind. It updates. Yeah, it's 500. 425. Okay, so I can fit like one more thing. Dark Souls Fade, how would that work? Don't worry about it. Oh, the coins are the first thing, so. Also give me more saber faces. There we go. Oh no, what did I do? Wait, did it submit? I don't know. Hold on. There was an error in the required field. All right, which field? Am I not allowed to select that I'm a woman? I never put that I don't play other titles. I'm sorry, chat. Thank God it actually remembers your responses. Can you imagine if it's like you created one error? You must now redo everything. Everything. Not seeing much more. So again, some of these questions take a while to answer, especially when I'm trying to explain them to you guys. But again, I think it's important to try and fill it out, like, and it's okay to like voice your grievances, right? I'm gonna say it's a lot harder for me on the Japanese survey to actually say like, hey, here's how you need to fix things, because I simply don't have the room. But at least with regards to, okay, so it looks like it worked. So at least with regards to the NA survey, I can definitely say a lot more. But it is interesting to see what Japan wants to know about. Like I said, those questions about like PC and stuff like that, that's very interesting. So hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. And I just, again, want to like see where they go with stuff. I do feel like, you know, again, I have given FGO a lot of crap over the years. And why? Well, because I play the game every day. Because I cover the game every day. It's because I'm passionate about the game. I love the game. And my answers are truthful to that extent. That's why I picked, like, on the dissatisfaction one, why I picked the second from the top. It's, yeah, I have my issues, but none of those issues are really preventing me from playing the game. None of them are really eroding my desire to play the game. I still love the game, and I still want to keep playing it. That being said, I do think there is an important reason to voice your frustrations, and it's important to do so here. I love the fact that they do the survey, and I was disappointed in them for not doing a survey earlier this year. I really hope that they take the results of this survey to heart and use it to make sure that Anniversary is better. Anniversary is probably locked in already, but I do feel like they can actually manage to like implement some things. So for instance, this is going to tell them a lot about what people find issue with in the game. If they don't address some of it at this anniversary, they're going to be in a world of hurt. I do believe that some people are kind of sitting here waiting on this to be the one that fixes things. And it's sad because it's not the 10th Annie. But the problem is some of the issues that we want to see fixed by 9th Annie, they are issues that should have been fixed at 8th Annie. 7th Annie, like going all the way back. They should have been fixed numerous times before, and they were not. So hopefully the devs actually do some stuff. Hopefully they do things that the community wants more than, again, just kind of floating on by and continuing to do what they have been. I do feel like the game is suffering some down the stretch. It's not that it's not popular, it's that the overall opinion of the game is turning. And I feel like even amongst the players, people are beginning to actively call out how bad it is in some ways. So I do hope that they kind of begin to address that, combat that, actually start fixing the things that the players have been asking for. Because I think that is the source of a lot of this. I feel like because they get all of these complaints, especially about major issues, and they don't fix them, it jades some people very quick. Mr. Fox, thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. How's it going? I think there's a good amount of people who will outright give up on the game if they don't get significant improvements to Sandy. I don't know about outright give up, but I think they're going to give up on like hoping for the changes. I think there's going to be plenty of people that will just keep on playing, and they're just going to be mad at the devs, and they're just going to feel like the devs are trash, and they're going to start bad-mouthing the devs. And that's a bad problem if they do that. Tag I admit? Okay. Jesus, that came late. But again, welcome everybody, and thank you for the raid, Fox. I hope you guys had a good stream. What were you guys up to today? We were just we actually just got done filling out the JP survey, so it was definitely an interesting one. I actually liked some of the questions that they asked this time. So there's definitely some new stuff that they haven't asked on the prior ones, but nice. They probably withheld the survey because they wanted people to see the two collabs, the reruns and the story first, so that people know they're improving. Maybe, right? And that may be a big thing because again, like I said this before too, like to a large degree, while I really wish that they had done a survey back in January, they didn't need to. There was nothing that they were going to get in that survey that they didn't already know about. And again, I think all the problems that they're going to see cropping up here are going to be exactly the same. They're going to get these same responses from people that they would have back in January, that they would have last year, because it's all the same stuff. The majority, like again, you guys saw in that question of like, hey, here's all the changes that we've implemented. And I'm glad they have a list, because honestly, I had forgotten some of those. But it's also because a lot of those things didn't matter to me. They were not a big deal. There's something that the devs would champion and be like, hey, look that we did this, but it doesn't actually change things. I haven't gone through with the survey because Aniplex mining's scary. It's actually not that bad. You can do it in game, Fox. In the My Room section, the second, so like not the actual bottom one, but the one above that. So the one next to last on the list of things in My Room. If you click on that, you can actually create a simple account that way. You got to pick on, it'll give you a like web pop-up in the browser. And I think it's that first screen there is the login screen. You're going to go down one more. So it's like not the submit button, but the button right beneath the top button on that. That's your register. Create your account. You need an email and a password. And again, it'll ask you to restate your password. So those will be your 3 boxes. And that's all you have to do. You just do that, and then you can pop open the survey and just log in as you normally do. So it's really not bad. So you can just do the simple one, and it works. But if they implement DMM levels of bullcrap, I don't think they will, because it'll just cost them money. I think they know. And we've had these sorts of issues over time with like you guys got to remember too, right? Like we have people that play on emulators all the time. And so people that have played on emulators have had numerous scares over the years, but they've never actually like done anything to try and kill the emulation community either. So I think you're safe. I don't think they're going to do anything to you. How do we access the JP survey? There is a link somewhere. I don't know if Avalon can toss it in chat for you guys. Thanks for the info. Yeah, you can still do it even with the simple account. You don't have to go through the full-blown Aniplex account thing. So, I mean, it is an Aniplex account, but it's not. You don't have to go on their website and sign up that way. So it's a lot easier to do in game. Everybody lost my account forever once. Yeah, no, and I'm gonna say that like that was one of the questions they actually asked about that. Like, hey, if you've returned to the game after quitting, did you use your old account or did you start a completely new one? And I think they know. I think they know that without the account binding, that they have lost a ton of people due to that over time. So I think that's been a big issue. But no, and that's like I was saying before. It's just I think they know, and I'm sure there's a reason they didn't give it out back in January. I just hope that giving it out now, they have enough time to process it and actually implement some changes. Because I'm going to say this, what they need to do internally, okay? They need to, what's the change account binding access comes to global this, Annie? Are you asking what if it does? It probably will. I'm expecting them to also bring it to the American side of things. So we'll just see, right? Yeah, Avalon has a great guide for it. So, but again, like I'm gonna say, if the results from this survey, the feedback from that is not similar to what they plan to do for Annie, that's a warning sign. That tells you that the developers are of one mind, the community is of a completely different one. If there is no overlap, we've got major problems. Because the community and the development staff should not completely overlap, but there should be some level of overlap. There should be some points that both sides see eye to eye on, and that's what actually gets changed. So, to me, I definitely sense that there is a divide right now between what the community wants and what the developers want to do. And the developers have got to meet in the middle. They've got to. And hopefully they do that. Hopefully they actually take these changes to heart. Do we need an Aniplex account to do the survey? Yes, you do. But you can log in on JP in your actual JP account and do it that way. Again, you can do it on mobile if you want, but I did it on web because some of these require typing, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna type on my smartphone. I'm sorry. We're getting the engine update late June here for NA. That can bring change with it even. Yeah, and I won't be surprised if that's the catalyst that you need for the account linking. That being said, it shouldn't be. Because I guarantee you've had the ability to do accounts and stuff in Unity for a lot longer than that. And so I'm sure it didn't take the update to the 2023 engine to allow that. But I do think that this is a good sign, actually getting the account binding. I'm going to say this. Again, we can give them crap, chat, but the fact that they did this, even if you don't like how they did it, the fact that they did it actually is huge. It is a big change in the tone at the top, in the actual thinking in the Aniplex staff as to how they're handling this. So I do think it's a good thing. I just did the survey on the website instead of mobile. Yeah, exactly. That's what I did as well. So, do we get Mighty Chain with Annie or New Year's Annie? I'm gonna have my my anniversary video coming out Wednesday. Tomorrow should be the GSSR and craft test and selector ticket videos. So again, you guys can get studied up on that first, and then I'll go over the actual anniversary as a whole. Because part of the reason I want to get those two out too is that I can link to them in the third video. That way it makes it nice and easy for people to navigate. I know I'm not going to have enough time to release 3 videos in one day, so. I'd also like them to do stuff with content creators too. They can drop some stuff. Yeah, I would love that. I think that's a big problem. And I will say this. Fox. So they did ask about VTubers. And alongside it, I believe they asked about VTubers prior, and that's how we actually ended up getting some of the HoloLive collabs. But they actually asked about both VTubers and YouTubers this time, implying, hey, not just the VTuber community. Because, again, I do think VTubers are a good logical choice for them to work on, but it's important for them to not, cut off a potential good avenue for them. Like, they need to consider all their options, not just, hey, let me go get, again, like I pointed this out. I know people really love Crony, but Crony was a terrible representative for FGO. Having Crony on was almost a disservice because you can tell that Crony doesn't take it seriously and is not actually going to play. So it would have been better if they had gotten a second person that actually was interested in trying the game out. Which is sad because I've heard that there is another one, even in Ian HoloLive, that does play FGO. So I don't know why they got Crony, other than, again, Crony's the Wada Arco drawn one, and I'm sure Crony is popular with FGO fans. But the thing with this is, if you're going to get, like, people to actually advertise the game, your market is not the FGO fans. They're already fans. They're already playing the game. Your market is the people that hadn't checked it out before, the people that had not played it, were not familiar with it. That's who you need to be advertising to. So, yeah, Ina was fantastic. Ina was great. So, and again, I have no issue with Crony. I just understand that Crony doesn't have interest in FGO, and it's hilarious to see that, like, Aniplex doesn't understand that. So that's kind of the problem, right? And I think that's the thing, is they've got to look at that, and they've got to find people that are actually going to be a good representative of the game. And if they do that, they'll actually get some people to come play. And I think it's a good thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had people alone come in and be like, hey man, thank you for making the videos that you've done. They've helped me out so much. They're actually how I managed to get into FGO. They're how I understand FGO. That's awesome for me to hear, but it also tells me that I am providing a good resource for people for onboarding. Like, that allows them to learn the game, which tells me that the game itself doesn't do a good job enough as is. But it also means that, yeah, that's the impact a content creator can have. You can get a content creator that actually makes people want to play the game or helps them play the game. That's what they need to be trying to target. And I do think that it's a good idea if they do it. And I've been saying that for years. Like, again, I would love to collaborate and work with Aniplex. I have a bad opinion of them purely because of the stance that they hold towards content creators. If they would change that stance, my attitude would improve. But as it currently stands, Aniplex is terrible because they're so behind the times in how they feel about things like content creation. I learned FGO through friends and YouTubers like you versus the game teaching me. Oh yeah, the game is terrible. Like, the game is literally like, all right, here's a buster card, here's what it does. Here's a quick card, here's what it does. Here's an arts card, here's what it does. Also, you gotta attack, you gotta press buttons. That's it. That's all the game tells you. And then it's like, have fun. It turns you loose. And like I said, for Fuyuki especially, you can press any button and you'll win. I shudder to think that someone might actually be out there that could fail Fuyuki fights. But again, you should just be able to kind of just waltz right through it. Definitely, though, I'd say probably somewhere around, like, probably about London. If you haven't figured some things out by that point in time, you'll begin struggling. Sink or swim FGO? Yeah. They also need to push that FGO has pity. So, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it again. Chat, how did people perceive pity when it came out? Like, what was the attitude about pity? Thanks again for Avalon always providing farming comps for a lot of guys. Oh yeah, Avalon's a great assistance to me. I could not do half of what I could do without him. At least at this current point in time. I say that. I could do everything that I currently do without Avalon. I just wouldn't do it. It would take too much fucking time. I would not have enough time in a day to get all the crap done that I do. So without Avalon, I wouldn't do it. And people were happy about it being a thing. Yeah, people were very happy. People were like, oh my god, I'm glad it's here. It's better than having nothing. But it was too high. It's better than nothing. That's bad terminology, right? Like, you don't want to hear that. Now, I've explained to this before that a lot of people don't understand the FGO pity system. A lot of people don't give it credit where credit's due because a lot of people don't realize how much free currency they get in this game compared to other games. You get way more currency in a game like this than you do in other games. But yeah, I mean, I think that perception matters. And that's what I talked about. It's the attitude, the perception of the game and its systems are FGO's problem. And I've told you guys before, we can do a better job about not trashing the game ourselves. Like, again, we shouldn't go around and like, when someone's like, yo dog, I'm interested in playing FGO, but I heard the pity's trash. If you go like, yeah, man, it's totally trash, congratulations, you just lost another player right there. Versus if you try to actually explain to them, again, sort of the points that I've talked about, that like, hey, yeah, no, you can work up towards pity, and the game actually gives out a ton of free currency, so it's not as bad as you think, that might get them to try it out. Same thing, when you're like, oh man, early FGO story is bad, just skip it, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're literally making the game look bad. You're making people skip the story. Then they're never going to be interested in the story because those early story chapters, while they're not written as good as the later ones, still have important stuff in them and still are okay. And I'd say, again, they're better than a lot of the gacha games that I've read. So we as a community can do a better job on this stuff. But overall, the perception issue is the dev's fault. It's Anaplex's fault. It's the marketing staff. It's literally on them to try and fix that. And if they don't fix it, it's their own problem. They have done it themselves, and it's a problem of their own making. Mr. Creamy, thank you for the 66. The sign of the devil. Chat, can we get some love for Creamy for his 5.5 years? You're free to play for both FGO and Genshin. You can hit pity 3 times a year. Yep. Yeah, and I've told people that, and people like don't believe me. I have literally had somebody on Twitter call me a liar for saying that you can hit pity 3 times in a year. And I'm like, well, I know, I hit it. So it's a thing, right? Like, but yeah, I understand why the perception is the way that it is. And while I'm gonna say we can do a better job maybe of defending it and clarifying, the perception's still going to stay that way. It's our choice whether or not to make it worse, is basically the point that I'm making. I wish they'd be more open to giving out free 5 stars from the general pool. Yeah, I mean, I would say even something like that, right? Like you don't have to give out a limited necessarily, but even if you gave out like a permanent, I feel like that would help out a lot. I feel like people would be like, oh my god, that's amazing, let me go do that. But I also do think that there's a good contingent of people that just quote unquote log into FGO. They just get the reward and they don't really necessarily do much. So I do think it's on FGO to actually try and like change things. Now, and I've pointed this out before too, because I've had people that said like, oh, well, we need auto battle and stuff like that. And I'm like, sure, auto battle is not going to make you play or enjoy this game. Because when you're auto battling, you're not playing, and when you're auto battling, you're not enjoying. So I don't feel like that's going to change anything, right? Like, I feel like people have asked for that to be a thing, and I think it's really just a sign of people that play multiple gacha games, and they want to be able to say that they play this one too. But frankly, I'm okay with that not being an option. So auto battle will make me play the game less. Yeah, I agree. I think it's actually bad for the game. I think it's bad for just about every game that it's in. Not entirely, but it certainly has negative repercussions over time with player retention. And while I do think it allows players to continue to play it after they're less invested in the game, I also think at that point it's a wounded duck. It's limping along. It's waiting to be shot. Like, yeah, you can keep auto battling because you're not interested anymore, but you're not actually interested, and one day you're just going to quit. Auto isn't the way to go for FGO IMO. Yeah, and I agree. Like, I've talked about this before. I do think there are ways that they can improve the farming and stuff like that. I do think that's something that can be done. it does require a little bit of creative thinking on the devs' part and whether or not they'd be willing to allow it. But yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's the solution that people think that it is. Look at Azure Lane, it's fallen hard. Oh, I'm gonna be real with you. I know there's quite a few people out there that still play Azure Lane. However, the only time I hear about Azure Lane is when there's a hot new skin. I don't even hear about new units. They're not a thing. I only see the hot new skin. That's it. Because that's all Azure Lane's famous for at this point. So, free daily story rolls. Yeah, I do think they could do like kind of like how you have the paid single. They could do a literal free spin on the story banner. And that would actually really help people out. People would do that shit every day. People would log in to make sure they did that shit. Because chat, a free spin on the story banner might be a goddamn K-scope. Might be a black grail. It doesn't even have to be a multi. Okay? You can literally give a single and people would do it every day. Straight up. Paid the single? Yeah, you've never heard that? Skins and seeing new art of a unit. Yep. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. How do people hear about FGO? Same deal. I firmly believe that's the same deal now at this point. I believe it's the case with most gacha games. The only reason you hear about them is because there's a new attractive unit out. I'm gonna do that shit every day, hoping and praying for Canis. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly new units or when a game pops off. I'm also making missing story lock 3 stars. Yeah, I get that. They could do what they do with the 4-star ticket in JP this year. Wait, what do you mean? How was the 4-star ticket different this time around? Unless I'm misremembering. A free multi on a new banner would be nice. That might be asking a lot. I don't expect that. Oh, the 4-star had limiteds. Yeah, I mean, they could do that, but they... I mean, again, I think the biggest issue with the 4-star ticket is that they just need to keep giving the 4-star ticket. They stopped giving it out for a long period in time, and that was dumb. I think they were like, well, we gave you a free 5-star, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't replace the need for 4 stars. So I think they should always run a 4-star ticket every year. I'm okay if they don't want to run a free 5-star ticket every year. But I do think they should always run the free 4-star ticket. One time I've ever attempted to roll story is as it seems like there'd be some small group of people who with a new year single to roll and got nothing then stop. Yeah, I mean, and all I'm trying to say is that like giving people even a single on the story banner over time would amount to so much. Like on average, chat, on average. So you would have like, what is that? You've got 356 days in a year, right? Or is it 355? I don't remember. No, it's 365. God damn it. Yeah, I'm totally wrong. You've got 365 days in a year. So times 8. This is the equivalent of how much free courts that would be. Literally enough to hit a pity in and of itself. Okay? Chat, on average, that is at least one SSR a year. Like, they wouldn't even have to advertise that much. They could just be like, yo, we're doing this. And then every freaking content creator, myself included, would be like, oh my god, this math, see what this means? And we would all be like Charlie Day drawing like fucking lines on the goddamn, like particle board here, trying to tie everything together, showing you how it's good for you to do and that you should do it. And that, oh my god, if you log in every single day and do this, holy crap, it's going to result in some crazy stuff. That's on average 3 SSRs. Oh yeah, I'm being pessimistic. I'm saying you should get 1 off of this. And again, chat, it's probably going to be more. Like, that's the thing. And In that time, are you going to get a K-scope? Are you going to get a Black Grail? No, but you know it's an option. You know it's there. Also, hear me out. This would incentivize you to catch up on story. Why? Because story-locked units only enter the story banner after you've completed their story chapter. You would grow the pool and gain access to more units. So they could double advertise this. This is an insanely good idea from every standpoint. It doesn't really cost them that much. It costs them some quartz, don't get me wrong. But the way in which they could advertise this is so beneficial to them. It kills me how stupid the devs seem at times. They're not stupid. The devs are so much smarter than us. You know why? Because they're not giving us this. And you're still spending money on the game, which means they're making more money by not giving you this. It's stupid of the devs to give you this. It's smart for improving the game's reputation. The game won't make more money off of this, though. It might make more money if it were to attract more people, though. That's something that I feel like the devs need to weigh a little bit more, is the longevity of certain impacts and how that can actually play with them. And I feel like the more they do that, the more likely that is to actually be good for them. But again, this is what it is. Okay, chat. It's going to be it for me tonight. Let's go raid Miss Ivy. She's on. Playing some Kingdom Hearts. Make sure I get this right. And again, I hope it doesn't raid immediately. That's been a thing that's been happening. But we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to, not press the raid button yet. We're going to be doing the CQs on an A and maybe JP if I can get to it in time. And then media share night tomorrow. So again, look forward to that. If you guys haven't already and you want to request that I react to a video for media share, get on the Discord. Get in the channel under the CAD section, under the Khadroth section. Called content suggestion box, and go drop your stuff in there. And again, if I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. But it is what it is. So, anyways, in the meantime, go give Miss Ivy my love, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, it might be a fast raid. So again, get your emotes ready. Let's get this party started.